Tonight.
Yeah,
Hey.
I beat my face. Moving fast cause the Uber's on the way.
On the way.
Taking pictures, make sure you can't see my legs. The we secure like the money in the safe. I look like big, now I'm on my way.
On the way.
Let you know when I'm about a mile away. When I'm outside, please don't make me wait.
Make me wait.
The party started when we pull up to the gate. Girl, we so late, I'm just with the crew. We ain't out here looking for boo. Cause some nights be better with you.
With you,
It's a homeless only kind of mood. And tonight we on 100. 100.
Come on, y'all, keep
no
going.
drama, no baby mama's keeping it cute. Ooh, that's just what I do.
Hey.
Do, and that's just how we do it. Do it. Yeah, that's just how we do it. Do it.
You
do
like
it.
it what I
do. Know how to keep it cool.
How y'all doing tonight?
Yeah,
Hey.
I beat my face. Moving fast cause the Uber's on the way.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Themis and Those. Grab your coffee, water, tea, whatever you're drinking. Go and get that. Welcome. There's a lot that we have to get into today. I wanted to start off lightening the mood a little bit because life has been lifing. And this gonna be a commercial. That little thing, Chloe and Hallie, they're gonna be a commercial. How is everyone doing? I've been just really, really busy. I was wondering if I should tell this random story. There's been just a lot of disruption, just generally in like my actual personal life, and just a lot of things out of my control that were just happening. And I mean, bad things happen, but like just not so much all at once. And I was very confused as to how my life was all out of control. And today, which was a really busy day, um, today, I woke up after having a dream about my grandmother and my grandfather all on my mom's side. And I don't usually dream about people who've passed on. So it was weird, but they seemed happy. And I think in the dream, I know I got hugged at some point during the stream. So I woke up and I kid you not, I don't know why I'm linking the dream to like my day, but like I woke up like smiling and kind of happy. And like obviously all my problems still existed. Sorry. Not me overdoing it with my lip balm and y'all pointing it out. Um, and so I woke up and then I started getting like random messages about like things to do to fix like all kinds of issues that were happening. Um, and like things were working out. And I'm like, look, whatever is happening, I'm just going to laugh and move on. But I've been working since like 5:30 a.m. this morning. Not just like work, but just like random things, like just chaotic. But things are looking up, which is weird. Um, someone said lip filler. Mm, not lip filler or lip balm. Period. Lip balm. I promise it's lip balm. I would never. I would the thing I like most on my face, well, my eyes, because they have like I like hooded eyes and like sad eyes, and I have both. And then my lips. So like I would never, ever, ever touch my lips. Ever. I'm very pro plastic surgery, but I would never touch my lips. All right. That being said, out of the way, I have a question. Why are you all bullying Swahili? Why are y'all bullying Swahili? Why? Y'all have this woman about to quit the music industry, and I don't understand. Why are y'all bullying her? So Sweetie apparently said, Sweetie opens up about feeling insecure as an artist. She said, I just felt myself giving up and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not sure if she meant I don't want to give up anymore or if she meant I don't want to do music anymore. Because one of those things I would I'm not gonna say which one of those things I would I'm not gonna say which one of those things I actually want her to do. But she said she's not gonna do it anymore. And I think she meant I'm not gonna give up anymore, or is she's not gonna do music anymore. But I'm trying to find the right way to do it. Because when you have a dream, I have a dream. When you have a dream and you want that wish you want, and no one can tell you kind of what to do, and you never want to discourage people from their dream. But sometimes your dream is not your calling. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're dreaming away from your calling and you need to like move towards your calling. This is a very beautiful woman. this, this is a beautiful woman, right? And I think that she could model. I don't know if she can act, but everyone is acting. She could try acting. She could try being a host, a socialite, a writer. She could get a podcast. You know what I mean? There's so many things she could do, and I don't want her to give up on. I never want people to give up on her dream. So we're sending love and support to you, Swahiti. We're sending we're sending love and support to you, Swahiti. All right. So one more thing came across my desk, and I'm starting off in the beginning like this because I don't understand Nicki Minaj a lot of the times. So I'm gonna play this. Um, and like, y'all let me know if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, it's fine. But whenever I think of Nicki Minaj, outside of the 1 foot, 2 foot, red foot, blue foot thing, I think of her as somewhat of a legend, right? Like Nicki Minaj, Nicki and Barbie, Nicki the Nicki the Harajuku Barbie. So like celebrities at Nicki Minaj's level, I just assume get a bunch of free stuff and get designer and custom made stuff. So seeing her online doing this was kind of wild to me, and I'll explain why in a minute.
First of all, Dolce and Gabbana, that's on my titties. Do you understand the gag? Dolce and Gabbana made me this shirt, guys. So thank you to Dolce. Maher, let them know. Are there any other shades like this in the world, darling?
These are custom for the Barbie. Thank you, Pier Giorgio. Thank you, Dolce & Gabbana.
Love you guys. So yeah. Now when will we be going to Italy?
We're gonna be there in June, right?
Oh, right. So anyway, guys, and so
All right. So she is, unless Dolce is paying you, if Dolce and Gabbana, if they're paying you to do this, then that makes sense. But this feels like very new money. Like not new money in like I'm using money as an example. This feels very new for her. When someone is like coming on and flexing about sort of having custom made t-shirt, that's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of wild because I'm just assuming Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion and everyone get custom made stuff. So like to come on with a custom made shirt and just kind of talking about it in this way feels it's really I don't know. Nicki Minaj, I don't understand. I think with the emergence of Beyonce from hibernation this year, I'm trying to get these celebrities to step their game up. So I've been calling them. I've been calling them because like I don't know what's happening. In that same vein, thinking about Beyonce, I still don't think Taylor Swift name should be mentioned anywhere we mention Beyonce. I mean, I just feel like no. However, I decided to go take a listen to some of Taylor Swift's songs from her recent album, that one album of the year, because I'm like, why do people like this album? Like, why do people care so much? And I got hooked. Y'all gonna drag me. I got hooked. So let me look at my playlist, because for the last 3 days I have been playing 3 songs over and over and over. The song Willow is like actually very well done, and Antihero, which separately, but Antihero and Willow are like my top 2 favorite songs for the like last 2 days. Um, no, I'm not a Swifty. Yeah, y'all can drag me. The Discord have already dragged me for filth, and I get it. But like, I did not know that there was some level of artistry there. Because I remember her Reputation era, and I was like, that is like basic. This is still basic, but it's like good basic. It's good basic. It's like the salt you put into your food. You don't really care to like taste too much of it, but like you need it there for some kind of balance. But y'all can drag me. I said I would be honest. So I'm up here being honest. I actually really like Willow. I really like the song Willow. Like I've listened. I feel like it's a spell, but that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. Because I do actually like that song, and I'm not gonna sit around and pretend like I don't. So, all right. Oh, before we get in, we have one more thing. Before we even before the P. Diddy thing being sued is gonna come up. It's the last thing I'm gonna go over, right? But just to be clear, Little Rod and Diddy weren't dating, right? Like before we start, I'm not starting with the P Diddy Little Rod situation, but they weren't like it was never confirmed that they were together or dating. Like it's not a thing. I read the complaint because like I'm going through. Little Rod posted this. This is Little Rod, and and this is Diddy. Obviously they're working out on a yacht, and so, so period. I just wanted to confirm because I need to figure out the context with which I need to review. With which I need to review the complaint. So just wanted to like figure that out up front. No, none of y'all are actually answering my question. So I'm gonna move on for now. We'll get back to we'll get back to the story, but like I just I just want to make sure that I'm like contextualizing this in the right way. Anywho, there's one more thing that I wanted to show y'all. Should I? Yeah, and we're gonna have a long intro. Um, I don't care about this though. But like anyway, Beyonce, I'm gonna go to something I care about. So Beyonce topped the Billboard's Hot 100 and the country music list. Wait, let me pull this up. This is actually kind of spectacular. Congrats are in order to Beyonce. Her single Texas Hold'em has reached the #1 spot on Billboard Hot 100 chart just 1 week after debuting at #2. This is her ninth leader, on the chart, And her first was a number one record, Don't Break My Soul or Break My Soul or whatever Break My Soul is. I was not that big a fan of Break My Soul, but I did like the song enough. When they said release your job, I was like, no. And so she's running the Country Music Awards, I'm assuming, because she's running up and down them Country Music Award list. And the country music chart can't even take Beyonce right now because Beyonce's fans are streaming her music. And so I know them people sick to their stomach right now. And I'm here for every moment of it. Trump was talking about his blacks, and I don't really care what Trump is doing yet. So we'll get back to this. Angela Yee, I really don't care. I don't know why people send me these topics because I literally don't care nothing about Angela Yee. She came out and she was saying that she left the Breakfast Club because she got her own show and she's always wanted her own show. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out who gave. Well, you're talking about. All right, can we be serious? Can we be serious for a minute? Is my mic on? Is this thing recording? Girl, I went back to watch T.S. Madison and Kaya. I've never really gotten past the stage of watching them, and I just remember how just terrible they were. So, anywho, I'm trying to figure out who gave Angela Yee a show. She was talking about how she didn't mind being with the men at the Breakfast Club, but she really wanted her show, and she's always aspired to have a show. And in the same way that Sweetie aspired to rap and have been, I mean, somewhat successful because we know her name as a rapper, it's the same way Angela Yee aspired to be a talk show host. So I feel like they're equivalent. So I'm just going to move on from Angela Yee. I don't know why anyone would send this to me as if I would care. And now we get into the serious part. So let's talk about Wendy Williams after the intro. Thank you all for being here, all 400 and something of you all. I appreciate it. Grab your coffee, water, tea, whatever you're drinking, go and get that, and let's get into it. Yep. All right. So I watched the documentary. It's 4 parts, right? And I watched the Wendy Williams documentary, and it made me really, really sad. And I was trying to figure out how I am not talking about Nature Boy. I'm not talking about Nature Boy. It's not going to happen. Let me come on and talk. The title of this PowerPoint was Giving Your Power Away. And one of the things that I find fundamentally sad about the human condition, just generally, is our need to be led, our need to be a part of a community, for example, is something that I recognize, I understand, and I appreciate. We are social creatures, we're social animals. Anthropologists, sociologists, even biologists would all agree with this. However, there is a point at which your need for community becomes really toxic to you and your personal health. And the point at which you disregard your personal health and your personal well-being and real connection to family and people who care about you to be a part of some toxic foolishness is a point at which I divest from conversation about you, with you, and around things that you're doing. I do think it takes a really good and strong person to stand up and be alone. Those are my people. those are my people. And I say that with a ton of judgment, not because I hate those people or I hate the idea of needing validation and community and friendship or even relationship so badly that you would do anything for it. It is very recently for me that I've recognized the beauty in being alone, in being away from friends, but also having friends, right? Not needing anyone or anything to validate me, but being able to do it myself. And so I stay clear of people and conversations around people who are so enmeshed in kind of collective and group thought, who will do anything, even be abused by people who are supposed to be leading them just to be a part of a community, give them their bodies and their money away to people in order to be in community with said people. I don't like that. Now, there is a cult personality. There are reasons why cult exist. I understand it. I understand there is a psychological need that is being met, and it comes at a high cost for a lot of people who are willing to pay because they're so taken by the ability to be in community with a certain person, particularly people who have some level of power and celebrity, i.e., Nature Boy, right? I can recognize all of that and appreciate all of that and still be like, yeah, no, I don't care. Like, part of being human is taking responsibility for your life and not giving over control over every aspect of who you are to someone else. And it is, I don't think it's just weak-minded people who get into this, but like, you look at Nature Boy, unless you're trying to be with him, ain't no reason to be there. Like, ain't no reason to be there. And he's scamming, apparently. He's being convicted for a bunch of stuff. I'm watching some of his community members, let's say, some of his cult following girl, doing interviews, defending their position, defending being sister wife, defending being all kinds of foolishness. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, I wouldn't even want to interview you. I wouldn't even know what to say. I'll just go, like, go and have you. Go ahead and have your fun, girl. Leave me out of it. Not me getting a quote, a period. Anyway, thank you all. I just don't engage with that. I don't engage with that. All right. So back to Wendy Williams. I was trying to figure out the best way to engage with the conversation about Wendy Williams, because at its core, I think that this is exploitation. I don't think Wendy Williams have the capacity. I'm not even going to get into her medical diagnosis outside of dementia, because that plays a key role in kind of the conversation I'm having, and how alcohol has affected her, and how the people around her, particularly the Sean lady, or PR person, engages in sort of enabling behaviors. But I don't think, and this will come up again, I don't think I can review this documentary because I don't want to add in the same way to the exploitation of Wendy Williams. However, I will talk about it hopefully in a more kind of theoretical sense and move away from the kind of beat by beat happening of the documentary. But know this, I like absolutely no one, and I think I put a slide saying this, except Wendy Williams' dad. All of them people toxic, every last one of them, from what I have seen in that documentary, all of them toxic. However, I cannot expect good people to be around Wendy Williams if Wendy Williams do not treat people well. People who have integrity and some level of dignity will not sit around and be mistreated by someone who apparently only wanted a yes person or yes people around them. So it does not surprise me that she is surrounded by what I perceive to be parasites. Like, it doesn't surprise me that Wendy Williams is surrounded by parasites. If you demonize, if you yell at, if you demean, if you treat poorly the people who are around you, then the only people who are around you or who will stay around you are those who want something from you and are willing to be mistreated. People who are willing to be mistreated to be around you aren't generally good people. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. Anywho, let's continue. So, Wendy Williams, to discuss this, I think we should talk, not that, anyway, aging, health, family, her child, karma, the guardianship, and then fame, right? And so, sorry. My grandmother actually had dementia. I don't know if I'm supposed to even be talking about this out here. My grandmother had dementia, and at the end of her life, she didn't remember who I was. And I literally could not be around her because every time I was around her, it would literally make me sad. She was the sweetest person as she was nearing the end of her life. And even though she wouldn't remember me, I didn't fully understand how she was able to survive. Because if you are always every hour you are trying to fight the environment essentially, because it's almost like you wake up every hour and you're trying to figure out where you are and who is around you. And I cannot imagine the kind of anxiety people with dementia, when it's really severe, I can't imagine the kind of anxiety that keeps cutting in every hour or so. And so I don't know. It was really, really sad for me to be around her. I know it was sad for my family to be around her also. And we wanted to be there even if we were sad because we wanted her to remember. But it just felt like she was always straining herself, straining to remember and fighting to she seemed like she wanted to know who we were. And it was, sorry, let's move on. It was a really, really sad time, and we didn't know what to do. No one knew exactly what to do. So for everyone who have experienced this, my heart goes out to you. And I don't think this is something that we should. I don't think this is something that we should be seeing. I don't think Wendy Williams' experience is something that we should have access to. And I know that we commodify literally everything and we just put it out there, and we make money and get the bag or whatever. But I feel like there is a level of exploitation that that should not be allowed. Which, let's get into it. Because I have a framework. So we're going to start with the aging process and have a small discussion around aging, hopefully. Health will blend into aging. We're going to talk about her family and how kind of disturbed I am by the family. I want to talk about guardianship, but not in any meaningful way, just to highlight a very specific point about Wendy Williams and the family and their unwillingness to own how terrible they have been, in my opinion. These are all my opinion based on the documentary. I don't know these people. And Wendy Williams' obsession with fame, even as she is unable to really be thoughtful about anything else, she knows she wants to be and remain famous and be on TV. So, all right, let's get into the aging conversation quickly. First, I put this image up because Wendy Williams, I didn't realize how much she was struggling in her personal life. And I think there is a willingness, and I don't think I want to do this. I don't think it's useful, but I won't tell you all what to do. I don't think it is useful to look at what is happening to Wendy Williams through the karma lens, right? Because if we say this is karma, then the question becomes who determines karma? Who determines how much karma should have? How do we see bad people getting a good life and good people going through hardships? Like, I don't want to have the karma conversation around Wendy Williams. I'm going to treat her as a human with dignity. And while I can own the fact that I've watched her demean, disrespect, and essentially violate people verbally, I can also say there is a human here who is crying out for help in some ways, and I don't think the people around her are either equipped or willing to engage in meaningful work to help her. So this is kind of how I want to frame the conversation. Um, I also think the willingness to jump to karma is also a way to say, to make us feel comfortable about our good fortune while blaming other people's past behaviors for their bad fortune, for their circumstances. And it elevates us in ways that I think are unfair. And we don't tend to want to help people because we blame their experience and their current circumstances on karma. And I think that is a terrible way to approach life, but I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you how I feel about it. Let's talk about it with Mara became a YouTube member. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much for being here and becoming a member. Miss Audio says, thank you, Themis. This isn't karma. Thank you. I don't believe it is. It is karma, but I also don't want to frame it as it isn't. I'm not going to try to change people's mind about what they believe, but yes, let's continue. So, a really unfortunate reality, and we're going to have a larger discussion about women and aging in society and why it is that I do think women actually have a responsibility here to not let people take their power away. Do not own, even if you are young right now, if you are in your 30s, 40s, and if you're older, in your 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, do not let anyone take your power away by linking your worth to your age. It is ridiculous to think that your ability to have children is the only value you give to the world. And I don't like, or your beauty. Or your beauty. I think it is a con being ran on women to claim that beauty is a value that you have, and that once it diminishes, you no longer have value. Your ability to reproduce is your value, and without it, you don't have any value. Right there are two values that they're saying without which you have no value. So obviously, just on those two alone, it is incorrect. Your intellect, your ability to love and care for people, your willingness to sacrifice your finances in a capitalistic society, your intellect, your humor. I think there are so many other ways to value yourself, and you can just have an innate knowing of spiritual value if you so believe. I think it is important that in an attempt to disregard women, not just older women, but even women your age that are quote unquote young, that you don't find beautiful, that other women and men engage in patriarchy in this way and misogyny, where we're demeaning and diminishing the value of people, and we're trying to force other people, women in particular, to not feel worthy of love, of care, and of general access to any kind of resource. We're going to get to the big back comment by Charlamagne the God in a minute. Hopefully this all ties together when we get there. But please, if I could give advice and people would listen, it is to not listen to anyone who is attempting to demean you and compare themselves to you to make you feel less than in an effort to gain access to you, or to make you feel terrible so you can invest in beauty products and beauty generally. I think the society is waging a war on women, and that, I think, is the fundamental underpinning of patriarchy, which is why it is fundamentally flawed from my perspective. For example, we create a wall. Some people say it's 25, some people say it's 35, after which you should start lowering your standards. You should start walking with your head down. You should start knowing that your value has diminished significantly. I don't agree with this. And for women who agree with this, they come out and they tell you, oh, make sure you get married by 35. You need to get that rich man by 35. Even those conversation packaged in these beautiful, beautiful empowerment speeches are ultimately, in my opinion, detrimental, because after you hit that age, then what? You should, in that framework, feel less than. That is a problem. This, by the way, is why I believe we need feminism. This is why we need feminism. And for all its warts and for all the people who are opposed to feminism, I think feminism and removing the power from men and the male gaze, because I say men, I don't actually just mean men. I mean people who look through the male lens in a patriarchy, which is essentially everyone. It diminishes women immediately. People who do this diminish women. And I feel like women, and we're going to get to some videos in a moment where this is very specifically highlighted. But it feels odd when I see people arguing that women are naturally not supposed to be leaders. And we're going to get to that in a moment again, because I need people to start defining leadership. Because anyway, anyway, you're going to sit up there and convince me that your genitalia makes you equipped to either lead or not lead. You're not going to convince me that. We're not in the Stone Ages, so we're going to get into it. So I do recognize the need for feminism. I actually really appreciate feminism. And I think most pushback against feminism has at its core women being less than men. And I do hope people come on the panel, if we open the panel, and discuss this. I don't actually believe there is any way around feminism. If you are going around it, I've thought about this, and maybe you all can help me with it when you come up. I don't believe there is any way to have meaningful autonomy, to have equality, and to be fully actualized as a woman without feminism and feminist ideas. Like the very need to quote unquote have a man to provide for you and to lead you diminishes who you are, like fundamentally. Again, an opinion. The panel, when it's open, y'all remind us to come back to this portion of the conversation. Right? And so the aging process, as we see, the maiden, the mother, the crone, all stages have something beautiful and amazing to offer, not just to the individual, but to society at large. One of the problems I think we keep running into is the overvaluing of the maiden, the diminishing of women as soon as they become a mother. And I'm not just talking about mother in the context of these three frameworks, because it could just mean creator of things and not just a child. But anyway, that is where devaluing start. And then at the crone in our contemporary society, it feels like we have no value for women. But that's when men's value start increasing. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous and intentional. We're with Queen of Wait, Brooklyn. Look at Ryan. Like I don't this is why I don't really engage with ideas around karma. Because, like, if karma, someone needs to explain it to me in a way that makes sense, that exempt the people who have engaged in atrocious behavior throughout history and them not getting any retribution. Like, No, you're not going to tell me about no karma now when it applies to this woman. No, I don't want to hear it. Claiming karma is based on our own bias. Agreed. Agreed. All right. So now that we've discussed aging, hopefully we can come back on and then we'll get back to aging in a minute. We're going to discuss family. And I know y'all are mad at me because fundamentally, I believe that if you are a parent and you have a child and you're good to that child, I fundamentally believe the child owes you something. Whatever that thing is, it is help. But it is more than spending your mother's money. It is more than thinking that you are just the person to take and never to give. And it is really sad that as I was watching this documentary, I saw Wendy Williams' son not really engaging with his mother in any meaningful way, right? And almost seeming upset that he has no access to her money anymore. We're going to repeat this at the guardianship level. They're the reason why there was a guardianship appointed. While I do not like the guardianship system, and it would take me an entire stream to go over why I don't like the guardianship system in the United States, it's kind of wild. It baffles me that the conversation happening on Wendy Williams' documentary, people are not really confronting the fact that the reason she had a guardian, right? The reason is ultimately that her family, when she was in their care, her son was spending money like there were no tomorrow. Her son was spending all kinds of money, like $100,000 in Uber Eat, $120,000 birthday party. And you might think, oh, but they're rich. This is what they do. Apparently, that's not what they do, because Wells Fargo was like, absolutely not. Wells Fargo saw the spending and they were like, absolutely not. And then Wendy Williams' son comes on the screen to tell us that, well, I have never taken money from my mom without her knowing. The part about her having dementia, what part of that don't you understand? So, no, I do not. I'm going to repeat this essentially verbatim when we get to the guardianship portion of this, right? But what I've learned in watching this, and I've always known this, family is not just blood. It's not about the people who are related to you based on your DNA. It is about intentionally cultivating community with people who care about you. And this is where the quote unquote yes man aspect comes in. You cannot create for yourself a community of people who only worship you and tell you yes. And the more money you have, the more power you have, the more able you are to create a bubble for yourself where the people in there only tell you yes and only worship you. That is a trap. It does not benefit you in the end. When I watched the way Wendy talked about her friends and family when she was on the Wendy Williams show, it was always really odd to me, right? Because she, the only person in her life, it seemed, that could tell her no, that could stand up to her because she was so in love with him, was her husband. And she would make these comments like, I only go to work and go home. I only need my man, my man, my man, my man. And she never actually engaged in any meaningful community. So when her husband cheats on her, get someone else pregnant, there is a divorce. She is older and going through a lot in terms of her health. Of course, the expectation would be that her health is going to deteriorate quickly. When that one person who you make your everything, he's the only person who can object to you and tell you the truth, leaves your life, it is going to be for worse, for your health, right? You don't have a community of people who are invested in you. None of the people seem interested in Wendy. Her family is talking about, I haven't seen Wendy in a year. Girl, there is nothing stopping you from going to visit her. So you telling me you haven't seen her in a year and then every second the camera is on you, you break down crying. Girl, I don't care. The Sean person is a user. The Will person is useless. The son is just like his daddy in my mind. I don't care. Don't know these people. All of these people just absolutely useless. She has a niece who keeps yelling at her and pretending like she's being stern. Girl, where were you? Where were you all this time? Like, whole family, entire family, absolutely useless from my perspective. Caveat: these people might actually be good, amazing people. However, what comes across in that documentary are completely useless people. The only person I care about and think is really good and meaningful in Wendy's life is her dad. And he is older and cannot do anything for Wendy, so I can understand his inability to engage and help his daughter. Everyone else, useless. Everyone. I cannot imagine a world in which my mom is going through anything like this and I am living my life in Florida while she's in New York, and I am not going to visit her months going by without any visit to her. Like, what do you mean? There is no power in this world that could keep me from being the caretaker of my mom, particularly if she's a multimillionaire where you don't actually have to work. You can be there and be the caretaker for her 100% of the time. And I know that seems like a heavy burden to ask. I'm not telling y'all that's what y'all need to do. I am saying I'm a judge, all of y'all. I'm not saying you have to do it, but if you don't, I'm going to judge you. I'm going to judge you. For a woman who has worked and built an empire and who keeps saying, this is all for my son, and she's going to give this all to you, you now need to work for it. You need to work. You need to put in we need sweat equity. We need it. You cannot just sit by and watch your mom's health deteriorate and sit around talking about, oh, I'm not the guardian. And what about it? You are not the guardian, which means you don't have access to her money. That's completely fine. You can't tell her to leave or do whatever or sign off anything, but you can be there for her physically. And even if you can't make decisions for her, you can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with her. The fact that this woman is in New York by herself with Will and Sean, girl, Will, ain't nobody gonna tell me Sean and Wendy not, you know what? I need a second. People were saying the issue is not that Sean is being mean and is too familiar. Sean is way too familiar. Sean is absolutely way too familiar with. You know what? I said I wasn't going to go point for point. It doesn't matter. Let me move on. While I do not agree with the guardianship system, Wendy's family need to understand that they're the reason she has a need a guardian. And the fact that the son kept using his mom's money and just bleeding her while she's not able to get an income is absolutely wild to me. The fact that they don't understand how they're not being helpful is wild to me. And while I do not like the guardianship system, I'm very much fine with it right now. I hope, though, that I don't find out that there is some foul play at work right now. The fact that she has worked so hard and does not have access to her money does bother me. That does bother me. Like, it is really unfortunate. But the question about her well-being is still up in the air, her capacity to make decision. Like, we were talking about Free Britney Spears the other day, and now Britney is online with machetes, dancing in her underwear. And I don't know. I don't know what to, I don't know what to think about this anymore. So I don't think it is as cut and dry as I once believed it to be. I don't think it is as easy a decision as I thought it was initially. Um, we need feminism because both women and men believe that there are laws that actually benefit women more than men, despite it being a page. Yeah, like the men sat around and wrote particular laws, and these men are still up here crying, literally crying about how the laws benefit them and women are leading, and we're gonna get to this, Brooklyn. This is building up somewhere. This is building to something. Thank you, Brooklyn. Will and Sean have been. I also saw Sean coming out talking about this was not what she signed up for. This was not the narrative she signed up for. Girl, ain't nobody care about what you gotta say. Took that woman to California, talk about, oh, we have a meeting with a network so that you will be back on TV. And I hope that woman, Sean, I hope she didn't just get her friends to pretend to be execs at a studio and tell Wendy what she wanted to, what Wendy wanted to hear, because it don't make no sense. This don't make no sense. Many don't understand dementia and how it affects a person. I also don't think her son spent money to be. So, I don't think he understands what his role should be now. And that's enough to be malicious for my part. And yeah, he don't know how to manage money. And if he don't know how to manage her money, that's going to be a problem. Yeah. He does not have to be like, I don't think he's actively thinking, oh, I need to take my mother's money and I need to spend all of it. I don't think that's what he's thinking. What he should be thinking is, my mom is sick. She needs me and I need to show up for her. That's what he needs to be thinking. And if he's not coming from that framework, it just looks like he's, I need to take care of me kind of person. All right. It is unfortunate, I think, that even when she is unable to think clearly, Wendy Williams, is obsessed with fame and wanting to be famous. And I don't fault her for this. I appreciate how honest she is about this, even if it is against her will, because I don't know what would be her will at this point. But the publicist is absolutely useless. I don't know why, as a publicist, you would sign up for this and know how you would be portrayed. I feel like as a publicist, your job is to understand how the audience will view someone, including yourself. And the fact that you didn't think this was a bad look while you were recording it is wow. The fact that you were coming for Will's job is also wow. Though to be fair, Will should never have been in the position he was in. Like, wasn't he like a jeweler or something? And Wendy just had, anywho. Both people are kind of useless. Will is sitting in there at the end of the documentary talking about, oh my God, why are you in here drinking alcohol in the bed? Like, that's not how we were introduced to Wendy in the beginning, part 1 of the documentary, when you came in and poured out the alcohol. All of y'all are enablers, and you don't know or have what it takes to engage and care for this person. And that's just that and that. So I'm glad both of them are fired. I do not care to hear what either of these people have to say. They're kind of useless. Sean is an enabler trying to pretend like Wendy did not have a drinking problem when it was very clearly stated that she had to go to the hospital after drinking herself almost to whatever. This is a problem, and I hope none of these two people ever find work again. Let me stop. Hopefully they become better people. Again, the only person, this is so sad. Like her mom, she lost her mom, her cheating husband, that is her family, and her show. And I cannot imagine just the kind of pain this person, Wendy Williams, would be going through. All she has right now, in my opinion, is her dad. That is the only person who seemed to love her beyond her being Wendy Williams. And not wanting her money. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about manhood. As we talk about the patriarchy and how it shames people into when they're aging, women in particular, let's talk about manhood because y'all get ready to tussle. Y'all really need to get ready to tussle in the chat because Russell Wilson came out and spoke. And I do hope that this is not a con in the way that Will Smith and Jada were like a mess. But I really appreciate the way he engages with discourse around his son, Future. I like it. I really like it. And it is a reminder that this is how we should be. I don't know why people call him corny. I don't know why people hate him. This man literally has done nothing to anyone. And if we find out he did something bad or does something bad in his relationship, then we can drag him. But for now, this is a role model. So here's what he had to say about Little Future.
This responsibility as well, like, and when I walked in the room and I saw, Little Future, he's 9 months at the time or whatever, and he crawls in my lap, and it was like, this is going to be my responsibility. God, I remember leaving that night and God saying, God saying to me, raising this child is going to be your responsibility. Mm. And realizing that, praying that, God, are you sure this is what you want me to do? Say, son, this is for you.
The first night?
Yeah, the first night. Mm-hmm. It's going to be your responsibility. And
was that scary?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think scary just in the sense of, not scary, but it was more so an opportunity. Like, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. This is, stepping in to raise, a child with C and this and that. And realizing that, okay, God, like, I know she's the one for me, but also too, I'm going to take this responsibility as well. Like, okay, like, and I was ready for that. I was ready to, 3 days later, I meet C. Okay, like, and I was ready for that. I was ready to, I love children, as you know, I love kids and everything else, but it was like, man, to help raise a child and everything else, understanding that, okay, God, you're gonna give me this opportunity. What a gift. Even Jesus himself, like Joseph was a stepdad. I was like, okay, it wasn't biologically his. So I'm like, okay, God, you're gonna give me this opportunity to love the way that you were loved, like the way that you want us to love. Wait, God, that you want me to. And so then, it's been an amazing journey, obviously, raising 4 kids. And
y'all have 4 babies.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask the question later, like y'all done, but not parenting, on being a father, right? And then also being specific, you said it, not much you're holding him and you're like, yo, this is, God gave you that vision, like, yo, this is going to be your responsibility. So like, is there a difference from, how you approach being a father, stepfather? You understand?
No, I think that when you're raising children, right, and you're married and everything else and loving, it's like, you got to love every single child as if they're yours. Right, that's been the greatest gift of raising Future and Sienna and Wynn and now Mora, in 2 months. It's like, man, God gave me that opportunity to raise them and to love them and to.
So Wendy Williams consciously built the house. She built particularly her community, and not having people to tell her no is like really, really unfortunate. So I wanted to show you all that before I showed you this. So like y'all can understand, hopefully, why I have a problem with Monique and her daddy. This is why I have a problem with Monique.
Sons, yes, you're absolutely.
This is why I have a problem with Monique and her daddy. because y'all are not going to change my mind on this. And they will always, as long as I have breath in my body, until they apologize to that man, who is a grown man, I agree, is a fully grown man. But you have a responsibility, Sydney, and you're not taking on that responsibility, looking like a toe. Just, ugh. I'ma remind y'all.
Whole life. Uncle Sid knew you before you knew you. So for you to say her 3 sons, yes, you're absolutely right. He has 3 sons. He can't claim you as his son because he's always been Uncle Sid and he knows your daddy.
He can't claim you as his son because you are his uncle. That is a problem. And this, by the way, is why I juxtapose these two. The framework here is very clear. You sitting up there, Monique, this is like, sorry, I'm not going to make this a Monique rant because I've been there, done that, whatever. When we think about responsibility and you marrying into a family and there is a child there and then you have other children, to say, oh, I'm going to treat this one different than my own child is absolutely ridiculous. And children, I believe, I've never experienced it in this way, but they can feel that. So when you're like, oh, my 3 kids, when this woman has 4 and you knew this child before he even knew himself, and you were talking about, oh, my 3 kids, you're a problem. Your husband is a problem, Monique, and you're a problem. And both of y'all are toxic. I remember, Monique, I'm not going to play this on here, but on stage talking about F that N word. Like, who does that? Just a vile person to sit up on stage in your anger and talk about, oh, an older lady told you, and now you're being able to say F that N word. You're out of line. You're a problem. And anyone who is defending Monique's behavior, you too might be a problem because there's no reason for you to be doing that. There is no reason for you, even if you think he's a grown man, for your mother to be on stage talking about F that N word is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. While also telling people that they need to wear bonnet. They shouldn't wear bonnets outside and you should dress well. Don't talk to us, Monique, until you figure out your own life. How about that? Annoying. Russell said that having little future was a blessing and he took on the responsibility. And as he was talking, like, obviously we don't know how their actual life goes, but it was heartwarming. I think a lot of the times we only get to see these toxic men, a future, running around, running amok. Nick Cannon running around, running amok. We get to Nick Cannon in a minute, actually, because Iyanla decided to go talk to Nick Cannon, and I'm not here to talk about the soul contract with non-black. I don't care. Nick Cannon can date and sleep with and do whatever he wants to do. That's not the part of the conversation I care about. And the fact that this part of the conversation didn't get blown up is also a problem. But we'll get to Nick Cannon when we get to Nick Cannon. When Russell says you have to love every child in the home as if they were yours, I said, finally. Like, I literally was like, finally. Because Monique up here with his Sydney father talking about how he can call you his son, he can treat you like his son, he can't be your father, you have a father. If that boy turned to that man and said, I wanted to call you dad, apparently he didn't love his father, right? And you were telling him no, as opposed to like, just call me pops or whatever it is that these people do nowadays, is ridiculous to me. And Monique, you're a problem. You will forever be a problem until you fix that relationship. And I don't want to hear it. Y'all can disagree with me all you want. I'm not, no, I don't want to hear it. Monique is a problem. Monique is a problem. Monique is a problem when it comes to her child and owning the fact that, hey, maybe you're a problem and you need to fix it and apologize to him if you want people to apologize. Look at him. Like, it's just, like, I'm not about to sit here and defend this. And the part that annoys me more than anything is I said I stood so firmly behind Monique, and I still agree with her about mistreatment of Black women in the industry and her own personal mistreatment. But to see her and her reaction to her child, this for me just highlights how terrible a person she might be. Like literally, like I'm watching her. Like no one could have brought Monique down but Monique. If Monique didn't do that Club Shay Shay interview, I'd be fully behind. This is supposed to be about fatherhood, but I am so sorry. If Monique didn't do that Club Shay Shay interview, I would be defending her still. But watching her dodge questions, watching her remove responsibility from herself and her father, watching her not engage meaningfully in how she could have been a problem, pretending like that Tyler Perry video or audio that she released didn't highlight how toxic her and her man was, is absolutely bizarre. For your man to sit and talk to the head of a studio and tell them that you don't work for free instead of declining politely is wild to me. For you to give us the information in the way that you gave us the information and not realize how toxic you both are is a problem. You said you're not hard to work with, yet you told us that you have a short temper and people better be glad your husband is there because you would go off. You need to control yourself, figure your life out, and then figure out how to negotiate your way in Hollywood. Now, Hollywood is a toxic place. You probably shouldn't be there in the first place. However, you're a problem. You're a problem. And these are the kinds of differences we get to see with a Russell Wilson and Sydney, whatever his last name is, Monique's husband. Which one do you want? And which kind of father do you want? Do you want the provider, the protector? Hopefully you can provide and protect yourself so you don't actually need that. Or do you want a leech? Do you want a parasite to sit there and just not be able to provide for you to the point where you have to go to get another man's money while he's sitting at home with you, broken, disgusted, and dusty? Ain't nobody got time for that. He's not her son's daddy, but he's Future, no, so was Shalon, or whatever his name is. Because Monique was saying, oh, he knew you before you knew you. Okay, girl, period. Then you're just proving his point. By the way, I don't even know Shalon or like Shalon or engage with Shalon because Shalon looked like he needed a moisturize. I'm kidding, sir. Girl, it's a hard not life. Someone said I have grace for Wendy and not Monique because I protect the elite. I absolutely do not. I do not protect the elite. It's eat the rich and all that. They call Russell corny for the same reason they call you fruitcake. They have an allergy, to manhood. Russell is a reminder of who they are. Now, I actually agree with my exception. I think people just see my mannerism and they just hate. I don't think they actually hate me. I think a lot of people who are like mad at me would actually be okay with talking to me. So they need to get over their own internalized homosexuality. They need to they need to just all right, let me stop. But I do agree with you, Mystic Moon. I think Russell reminds them of what they are not. And if you raise the bar too high, a lot of people cannot reach it. And people, I think, feel safer when there's not that much expectation on them. And we are going to move right into, hopefully it's next, right? Please be Nick Cannon next. All right, good. We're going to talk about Nick Cannon next because I think people, when the bar is low, when the bar is this low, everyone can meet it. Any kind of elevation is going to require more work. And these people are trying to do more work. So, but yeah, no, I agree with you though. I fully agree with you. Monique is clearly a black male worshiper in my Sinjila voice. You want to know something? If we are supposed to create a framework for quote unquote black male worship, she would fit it. So it is weird that there are so many women out here like, oh my God, she is right, blah, blah, blah. I never said she was wrong about her fight with Tyler Perry and Lee. In truth, I think she needs to take responsibility for how she negotiates and how she talks and treats people, talks to and treat people. She needs to take responsibility for her husband. She needs to fire her husband, and she needs to get a team that will run her cooperation like a corporation and not a mom and pop. Like her daddy just running around making stuff up. Like when I found out about Can, like literally when I found out about Can, I just sat there for 2 minutes looking at my screen after I finished reading it, and I was like, just useless. Like just absolutely useless. Like they wanted me to go to Cannes, and I asked how much they're gonna pay me, and they said we don't pay to go to Cannes, but we will extend your stay, we'll upgrade your room, we'll upgrade this, but we can't pay. And then you gonna say, oh, we don't work for free. Cause have you absolutely lost your mind? I wish I hadn't looked up what Cannes was. Like I actually wish I hadn't looked it up. Cause like now people need to start asking Monique, if was it that you were supposed to promote it all over Europe, or was it that they were trying to get you to go to Cannes? Because you specifically said Cannes. All right. So let's get into this foolishness right now with Iyanla and Nick Cannon. Any conversation about the Black community happening with Nick Cannon, any conversation at all, should start with him having a bunch of children. That is where it starts. It might not be where it ends, but that is where it starts. And if it's not where it starts with this conversation, it should happen. And they should both get dragged for it. So let's play. I don't want to put this on the screen because it's Nick Cannon and they have a bunch of problems. So y'all gonna have to look at my face while we listen to Nick Cannon and Iyanla. Well, it's not Nick Cannon, it's just Iyanla talking, because why would Nick Cannon have to talk when Iyanla is here to cuddle them for him? All right. So let me know if you can hear it. Drop a 1 if you can hear it. Hear what's happening. I'm going to play it now.
Greatest crimes perpetuated against Black men specifically is the level to which their humanity and their hearts have been devalued, diminished, and dehumanized, and that they have become doing machines. The greatest value a Black man has, in many instances, is what he can do for somebody. Right. And how he can do it, and how much he can do it, and how much he earns doing it. I mean, I hear it and see it among young people in the relationships. You know, oh, you're gonna get my nails done, and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do that. Right. You know, they've been demeaned and devalued and dehearted, right, to the point where they value themselves based on what they can do. Fix it, get it, make it happen. And no place have I seen in our world does anybody tell Black men the greatest crimes how to be. How to be with themselves, how to be true to themselves, how to be with their feelings, how to be with their heart, you know, and it's criminal. So what happens is then they begin to do the things that are expected of them. And that's how they're evaluated. And then if they can't do that anymore, whether it's the job or pay the mortgage or whatever, then they're just cast off like socks in the corner. Right. Right. And it happens to Black women also, but usually because of the children in our care, we're given a little more leeway.
It happens to Black women also, but usually because the children are in your care, you get a little more leeway. It doesn't sound like a little more leeway if the kids are in your care. It sounds like you have to deal with all of that stuff while also taking care of a human being. What do you mean they get leeway because the kids are? How do you reframe your own oppression to make it so that the man who benefits more than you in a system where they don't generally take care of their kids, how do you not accept that you are more at risk? And for everything, mind you. I'm gonna let her finish, but it is wild to me that Iyanla would sit in front of Nick Cannon and talk about the greatest crime perpetuated against Black men, that is that they are required to provide financially. Where? The greatest crime against Black people would probably be slavery. It would probably be something to the effect of dehumanization from a white supremacist system. The issues in the community is not about that Black women want men to provide. It is about the low average income, the broken homes, the lack of support, the lack of ability to connect emotionally or be emotionally aware, lack of education, lack of political activism, mass incarceration, the fact that that didn't come up is a problem, the prison industrial complex, slavery and its effects, right? Post-traumatic slave syndrome, Jim Crow and its effect, homicide in the Black community, gang violence, unemployment, the $50 billion. I just randomly went through my mind to come up with a list without pre-thinking about it. And Iyanla sitting up here talking about the greatest crime perpetuated against Black men is that people want them to do things and provide. And then they do things and provide because that's what is expected of us. Where is that happening? It is absolutely ridiculous that you will sit there and say the greatest crime perpetuated against Black men is that women want them to provide. Even if you want to take it all the way back, the greatest crime against Black people would be something to the effect of, I don't know, slavery, dehumanizing people, taking away people's humanity and making them the same as chattel, burning down Black communities. I don't know. Make something up out of history. Not make it up, obviously, but drag it up and then put it out forward as the greatest crime. Not that women want you to provide, girl. What? The attempt to force the people around to want less is wild to me. It is wild. And I'm frustrated because it's like, I do fundamentally believe in our capacity to do and be more. Yet the requirement to do and be more is getting stifled. Like people's voices are getting chilled because we spend so much time cuddling, Black men, myself including, ego around, oh, all they want you to do is provide and protect, and then all you can do is provide and protect. We're not doing that. Have you seen the femicide rate? Have you seen the unaliving of Black men in the community? Did you see that? It is absolutely ridiculous to me that the conversation about the greatest crimes against Black men turns on Black women wanting them to provide. It's wild. It is wild when there are actual crimes against stop and frisk, a crime against Black men, girl. The New York Supreme Court said so. And then the Court of Appeals agreed. What do you mean? You sit up there and you speak and you try to be profound and thoughtful and nothing comes out. Like, I would be annoyed at a lot of things, right? But I wouldn't be this annoyed because you take a very insignificant non-existent reality about people wanting them to provide, us to provide, wanting more. You take the city girls and you take the hot girls and the weather girls. I'm calling Sweetie the weather girls. And y'all put them as the pinnacle of what Black womanhood is and requires. And that's not true. That is not true. So the fact that you're sitting up here talking about the greatest crime towards Black men is women and people wanting them to provide and do and build is ridiculous. That can't be the greatest crimes. As a Black man, I'm going to tell you, no, that's not the biggest crime against me. That is wild to me. Why doesn't Black man worship translate to her son? Why? I know nothing about her and her family. Iyanla always breathing life into her wannabe. Like, I just don't understand why she took this angle. And then, like, I guess she never really fixed anyone's life. Talking about Iyanla, at least Monique got her a protector. He there. Monique said, y'all can get a protector too. She want to put him in a bottle, shaking up and have y'all have a slip. Have you ever been swallowed? Iyanla the picket needs to stop telling us to collect bandits in the name of ancestor. She's a criminal for not wanting Black men to take care of this. Right? All you want is for you to take. Girl, ain't nobody take. Let's finish it. I said what I have to say. I don't have much more to say, but let's hear where this goes.
But the way it's done for Black men, and as I shared with you, one of the things my teacher taught me was one of the greatest kryptonites for man, a man in general, Black men specifically, is the feeling, the belief how to be, the treatment that he is somehow inadequate.
Y'all don't see that as a problem? For men, the greatest issue is feeling like men don't like feeling like they're inadequate. Yeah, no, of course. No one wants to feel like they're inadequate. This is not just a man problem. No one wants to feel like they're inadequate, but you have to provide something. You have to be of value, and you have to see yourself as adequate. No one, absolutely not a white man, not a Black man, not a white woman, not a Black woman, not anyone else. No one wants to see and feel themselves inadequate. No one wants you to think them inadequate. This is not a gendered thing. Oh, well, actually, for all the women, drop a 1 if you want to feel inadequate, if you're fine with feeling inadequate. Drop a 1. There's no other option. Drop a 1. Let me see if there's any 1. Drop a 1 if you're like, okay, I'm fine with feeling inadequate. I'm fine with people thinking I'm inadequate. It's not a problem for me that people think I'm inadequate. Drop a 1. No one wants to feel like they're inadequate. This is not a man problem. Stand up and do something and be of value. Don't sit there talking about, oh, we don't want to feel inadequate. If you're not inadequate and people treat you as if you are, that's a problem. But for you to sit up here and say, oh my God, oh my God. Is it a crime for only Black men to provide houseway? Girl, like it's criminal to want Black men to provide. Like that don't make sense. I want to provide. Something. Very much something.
And when you devalue a man, he's going to feel inadequate. When you dehumanize him, when you deheart him, so then where does he go with that? Right.
You devalue anyone they feel inadequate, not just men, anyone. Like,
right. He's inadequate and he doesn't serve a purpose because he can't do what you need him to do to make you feel better about yourself.
What's the purpose? What's the point?
What's the point? And that's why we have these incredible rises in suicide. Yeah. I personally think it's why we have this and I don't know the figures. I don't know what they are now, but the increase between, I think it was 2017.
Sorry. I like to tell old folks I'm here to take their teeth. I am also not allowed around patients. No. That is disturbing. It's disturbing. I'm gonna move on. I'm literally just gonna. I'm gonna move on. The fact, but no, I'm not moving on. Men have a monopoly on victimhood in the Black community, which is wild. When women are doubly oppressed. Black women are talking about Black girl magic, Black girl rock, Black women empowerment, boss babe, all of that. Black men are talking about being oppressed and being more oppressed than women. And at the same token, but no, this is not a level up. This is not a, oh my God, Themis is preaching and protecting women and like pointing out. No, because at the same token, Black women are still out here talking about submitting. Like let me play this. Let's get into it actually, so everyone can be mad at me tonight. I feel froggy, so I'm gonna jump. Let's do it. Black men have a monopoly on victimhood in the Black community. Wait, did I say that? Period. Period. Wait, did I say? Can I just be? I didn't realize. Yeah, period. I thought you were going in just now. My quoted Stevens. All right, let's play this foolishness. Before I even play this, let me tell you something. I'm not even caring about what the man is saying. I'm thinking about what the woman is about to say in response. Because all of them are disgusted by him when he's talking. You'll hear him in a minute. All of them are disgusted. All of them, the women, are disgusted. And then hear what they said. Hear how they respond to his degeneracy.
And get frustrated around a lot of kids and be like, man, come get these kids. Because it's not our strong suit. Not saying that we can't. What I'm saying is we aren't built to be nurturers, just like the woman isn't built to be the leader in a relationship with a man.
I be on your side. I be on your side, son.
Built. Let's talk about the word built.
Are women built for leadership?
Within a relationship, no. No. That's why they look for a man. They desire a man to lead. We can get upset at the wording all we want, but they want a man to lead for a reason because they aren't built to do it. They don't want to do it.
Do you agree or disagree?
Do you want a man to lead the relationship, yes or no?
I think everything you're saying is absolutely correct for a different time period.
Do you not want a man to be a leader in the relationship with you?
Yes, but okay, when we talk about leaders,
men get frustrated around a lot.
When we talk about leaders, leaders is not strictly financial. Leaders means that you can take on everything that's going on in the house and delegate. Okay, it means that you can take, but
after she said yes, I would have been like, I win. It wouldn't even be like, oh, cute conversation. This is a discussion. It's not a win or lose. No, in her face, I would say, I win. Please stop talking to me now. If I were him and as degenerate as him. How are you going to sit up there talking about, yeah, I want a leader. Why are you mad at him then? Like, you just don't like the way it's said. Because if you say, oh, I want a leader, he is right. He is right if that is where you want to take it. Oh, I want a leader. So don't you want a leader? I mean, yeah, I want a leader, but leader is not just financial. It is, blah, blah, blah. It don't matter. It does not matter. The moment you say, I want a leader, he wins. What do you mean? You've been living your own life for however many years, running around talking about, I want a leader. That is absolutely ridiculous to me. That is absolutely ridiculous to me. I know I've given credence and space for a lot of this. And by the way, please don't think you have to leave this channel if you're someone who wants that. I will be tasked with changing your mind. The fact, whenever I see a woman, and by the way, I respect women. I do. Because I need to say this, because some of the smartest people I know and the people I look up to are women. So it doesn't make sense. It never computes in my mind when I see women running around talking about, I want a leader. That don't make sense to me. What do you mean you want a leader? Why? Why do you want a leader? You can say you want someone to help you with the load, whatever. You can say you want someone who is better than you in this area. What do you mean you want a leader as a blanket statement? That does not make sense. What do you mean you want a leader? And then you want to like compartmentalize later. Ain't nobody got time. All these people here is, I want a leader. I want a leader. Like, I want it. We're going to play it again. Sorry, I'm kind of frustrated. The scarcity is not the move. Fun drinking game. Take a shot every time Timmy say, that's wild. I don't actually know where I got that from. Probably in like some comment section somewhere. I submit all the time. Submit to my PTO day. I submit my PTO, period. Submit these applications. Black men's panel are easy money, Jones. ED, employment not abandoned. Contract you soon. Oh, hey, Sin7, Sin. I don't know if Sin is here. She said she would be here, but your name reminded me of Sin. She was live yesterday, I think yesterday, on Patreon. Drop her Patreon, please. It was actually a really fun live. She wasn't feeling well. That made me sad. But it was a fun live stream. I submit my list of vacay location to my Don't play with Ron. Don't play Princella wins again. Oh, we're gonna rewatch this.
A kid.
Because she thought she ate too. This is the problem. Like, the moment you say, I want a leader, you've played into the power. Where is Erica De Niro when I need her? And where is Erica De Niro when I need her? Because Erica be dragging the patriarchy by its phantom follicles, girl. And right now we need the patriarchy drag. Because, like, you sitting up here being grossed out by a man saying you were built to nurture, I was not built to nurture, I don't even like them kids. Also, you run around looking for leaders, and that's why y'all need to submit to me, and you're going to be mad. And then your response is, yeah, I want a leader. What? Why are you responding? Why are you mad? If that is your paradigm, just sit there and understand, like, yeah, it's toxic. So you can be a leader, but you don't have the ability to help raise girl. Like, no, she was like, women aren't built to be leaders. How come no one asked him what it means to be built to be a leader? What does being built to be a leader mean? Because I would assume being a leader requires emotional, social, financial literacy and intelligence. Your physical might does not a leader make. Some of y'all can't even read, talking about leadership. Your genitalia cannot make you a leader. That don't make no sense. So what does it mean to be, quote unquote, built to be a leader? Explain that. What is a leader? We're going to rewatch it and be frustrated together. Because we all need to be as frustrated as I am right now. Yep, I believe we all need to be as frustrated as I am right now.
To be like, man, come get these kids, because it's not our strong suit. Not saying that we can't. What I'm saying is we aren't built to be nurturers, just like the woman isn't built to be the leader in a relationship with a man.
I be on your side.
Why are you shaking your head no and then you go and agree? Let's hear what she says to minding my business. Thank you for, this is our 2-year anniversary. Hug. Thank you. Miss Sparkles, this is our 9 months anniversary. Hey, hug.
On your side of time.
Built is built.
Nah, let's talk about the word built.
Are women built for leadership?
Within a relationship, no. No. That's why they look for a man. They desire a man to lead. We can get upset at the wording.
Women weren't built to lead. That's why they look for a man to lead them. All right, that is his thesis. That is his argument. If I were there, I would say, okay, cool. What does it mean to be quote unquote built to lead, right? I would engage in discourse for him to clarify why it is that men were built to lead. He needs to explain that to me, right? But that's not what they do. I don't know why she's mad when she then goes to agree with him. Aaron was clearly not a leader.
All we want. But they want a man to lead for a reason because they aren't built to do it. They don't want to do it.
Do you agree or
do you want a man to lead the relationship? Yes or no?
I think everything you're saying is absolutely correct for a different time period.
Do you not want a man to be a leader in the relationship with you?
Yes, but okay, when we talk about leader, you're saying it as though it's not because women, when we say we want this soft lifestyle, right? It's not always pertaining to financial means, meaning I can just lay in the house and not do nothing. Sometimes I want the soft lifestyle, meaning I ain't got to worry about punishing Johnny because he.
Then you don't want a leader. I don't know why you just said yes to him, talking about, yes, I want to lead. Like, these people set you up and you take the bait and then you sit up there and like be confused. Like, I don't understand this. Like, if you don't want a leader, say you don't want a leader, forget his ego. Who cares if he is mad? Literally, who cares if this man is mad? Like, oh yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but like, the way you said it, okay. A black woman said, pay the light bill and $40 a week for child support is a leadership skill. Right. And then we have this in the same vein. Let's just do it.
Husband that most modern women don't agree with. In no particular order, number one, submitting to him. I don't look at me and my husband as equals. He is my head, he is my leader, and I respect and treat him as such. And there's nothing oppressive about it. This man treats me like a princess, and
what do people think oppression means? Like, I just I think that people just think prolonged, cruel, or unusual treatment, not just like control, right? But anywho, if he's above you, you better again pray to God that he's benevolent. So you got you a benevolent king. Good for you. Good for you. You decided to give your autonomy up in order to be with someone. Okay. You give your personhood up. Give your ability to lead your own life up to be with someone. Like, okay, period. And the thing is, like, I literally thought for a long time, I thought when women talked about this, because like even women in traditional relationship, I always find them to be kind of more thoughtful than their partners and like controlling how things operate generally. So I always thought when women said they were looking for a leader, they were only playing to the man's ego, but they don't care about no leadership. But now it's starting to feel like it is real. And that is scary to me because I've always thought it was women playing a game. Right? I promise you, like when I used to hear it, I used to think people were just like, women were just like playing into the lower nature of men. Lead me to first class and the all-inclusive resort, period. Oppression is 70% of the community. Oppression is 70% of the community are single, right? But like, I'm trying to figure out, because I know my theory has to be true. My theory that there are women like playing this game where they pretend like the man they're with is like the leader and they're submissive just to like get what they want and still control. I hope that is still true because it feels true. I've not looked into this, but it feels true.
I love it. Every single minute of it. When you have a man who you know truly has your best interest at heart, it truly makes submitting come easy. Not always easy, but definitely worthwhile. Number two, I ask him for permission on certain things before I do it. Let's say a group of my girls and I want to go out to a place that we've never been before. I'm not going to just go. I'm going to ask my husband if he's okay with me going before I make any type of plans. And that's out of respect, because if he's not okay with where we're going, or if he's not sure about the location, then I'm not going to go. I also wash his clothes. I clean up after him. I cook for him. I serve.
I think she just wants to trigger people. I think like you literally just have to want to, because like this could just be like I speak and me and my partner speak about where I'm going and we agree on certain things. Like obviously there is a back and forth if you respect people that you're with. Or even just to be safe generally. Permission.
Him his plate and I take it back when he's done. I cater to him. I literally cater to him because he's the king and he's things I do for my husband that most because he's the king and he should be treated as such. And I let him have the final say on decisions. I trust his judgment at the end of the day, and I know that he's always open to hearing and considering my thoughts, but at the end of the day, he's the man. I let him have the authority, let him have the final say on what works best for us. And even if things don't go as he planned originally, I'm not going to go ha ha and laugh in his face. I'm going to still be by his side and support him. It's okay. Lesson learned. Now on to the next thing. Period.
To say someone always have the final say in every decision is wild to me. So you have no job, you have no expertise, you have nothing, like you literally do nothing in life. Because if you do, there has to be something for which you should have the final say because you would know better. But because he's a man, even if you know better, you will just go with whatever he. And then people are like, oh my God, these men are out of pocket. Like, they're not out of pocket. When people say this and do this, and like men feel like they're the prize, like, obviously, like, you gonna say he have that don't make no sense to me, but period, do you? I wonder, do women want leaders or ambition and initiative? I wonder, do people want leaders or ambition and initiative? Because in my mind, these are two separate things. Because in my mind, these are two separate things. Now you're repeating them, not Dr. Umar in the super chat. I think people want, hopefully, leadership qualities. But like those aren't necessarily just a woman or man thing. It's just a thing some people have. And if you value it, you value it. If you don't, you don't. And it's sad that like women are being told over and over and over again that this is what you need to do. This is how you need to act. This is how you need to engage. You need to submit. You need to give him. How does, and this is what someone needs to explain to me. How does sitting around and being born male qualify you to be a leader? And in different, in finance, in like literally every area, because you just say leader without any qualification. Tahara, thank you so much, by the way. Kerosene says, clearly some women do not understand the assignment. Most tradwives know how to control their family and husband. There will always be outliers. That's what I just assume. Like this is why I was like, okay, I don't care. I'm pro whatever. Because I'm assuming like people are thinking about getting out. People are thinking about their own security. People are thinking about making sure that their life is good with or without the man. And that when, if anything happens, you are still protected, and that you are not actually giving up power, but you're trying to rethink how you engage in power negotiation in a way that is beneficial to both parties. Like, I'm thinking that kind of work is happening, but apparently it's not. And people are like, just take me and use me, and I will do whatever you want me to do. If you provide for me, I will just be and do whatever you want. And I have no autonomy. And like, I just exist at your will. That's wild. That's wild. Outside of a fetish, that is wild. Not bless her heart. No makeup and head wrap is that Umar. Yeah, serious. I had a comment, but I was gonna leave it alone because ain't no way. And that's how we get to the Charlamagne comment. And it's interesting because like people like submit, you need to submit, that's the problem. You need to not submit, that's the problem. Women need to know their place, women need to know this, women need to know that. And then all that mess boils down to, oh, also you need to be attractive. Because if you didn't know this, now you know if you're not attractive, then you are the problem, you are the cause for your pain. This is quote unquote big back behavior when people are desperate, i.e., I'm going to just submit and do everything for this person or whatever. So I'm going to play, I can't put it on the screen. I don't actually even know if I can like play this. Oh, my Insta is active. I'm going to play the sound. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Let's play the sound. We don't even need the sound, honestly, because I can tell you. All right, they're talking about Risa Tisa and what's her name? Just Hilarious is telling the backstory, and Charlamagne was like, "Oh, this sound like big back issues," and it's wild to me that Charlamagne is sitting himself up there, like wanting us to believe that he hasn't seen any picture of this woman, and he just so happened to know that this is like big back problem. How? Is it like? Let me pull up my PowerPoint because ain't nobody got time for Charlamagne right now. Let's do it. When you say it's big back problem, is Beyonce big back? Is Kelly Rowland big back? And is Portia Williams big back? Because it's happening. It sounds like a desperation, patriarchy, manipulation problem, and not necessarily a big back problem. How are you not? And by the way, I'm going to answer the how and why in a moment. But how are you sitting up there ignoring the realities for all these? I'm going to guess the opposite of big back is small back. I don't use these terms, so I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to assume that by big back, the opposite is small back. So someone said, why is Kelly Rowland in there? Girl, go listen to Dirty Laundry. go listen to Dirty Laundry and then come back. Why is Kelly Rowland in there? Sorry. There's nothing funny about this, but like Kelly Rowland told us why she was in there. He got bald man, right? So he says this, and Just Hilarious is just up there kikiing with them, right? So it's wild to me that Just Hilarious would just be among them like, oh yeah, it's a big, you, Just Hilarious. Actually, let me leave Just Hilarious alone because I don't have a problem with this woman. It's fine. But like the truth is, your looks don't matter. It is not about you and how you present that causes men to behave how men behave in these relationships. And so, yes, there is a desperation problem. I would have agreed with that. But to say that her physical appearance is why this man is doing what he's doing, or why she is doing what she's doing in terms of allowing all of this to happen is ridiculous. Again, Erica De Niro did a video on this that you guys should definitely watch. It is more in depth. I don't want to just start repeating a bunch of random things here. But it's just wild to me that women actually sit back and say, yeah, it's a big back problem. No! Portia Williams is going through a whole scamming incident on the public stage right now. No one is going to say Portia Williams is either ugly or big backed. I don't know if that's if you say big backed. No one would say that. So it's obviously not just a big back problem. This is misogyny wrapped in advice. This is how patriarchy operates to blame women for how they behave and not tell them that because we have created a system that tells them that they should be desperate and go after and be everything for a man, that this is going to be the result. When you tell women who are quote unquote big backed that they're not worth anything and they don't have any value, you can't then turn around and say, why would you fall for that? That don't make sense. You joking about her being quote unquote big backed, and that is a big back problem, highlights something that you understand about how beauty operates and how men like you treat people you think are not desirable. The problem is you don't just stop at those people you claim are not desirable, you do it to everyone. Everyone is getting cheated on. Everyone is getting lied to. Everyone is delusional. Beauty or no beauty. It seems truthful. And there's a lot of people in the comments sitting around talking about, oh my God, he's just telling the truth. You want to feel comfortable in your beauty. You want to think that these people won't treat you the exact same way if you allow it to happen. And you will probably allow some extent of that, some level of that to happen. But sit there in your comfort and let that man lull you to sleep with the idea that because you are quote unquote traditionally beautiful, because you're traditionally beautiful, that they won't run amok. Beyonce got cheated on, girl. What do you mean? Portia Williams is her level of scamming is like her husband is about to go to prison. Probably, most likely, in front of the world stage. What do you mean? This has less to do with how you look and more to do with what you believe. Sin has pointed out that you need standards, boundaries, and expectations. If you have these, as long as they're being met, you can be there. When they're not, you move on. It's very simple. It's harder to do in practice, but it's very simple. But then you tell people over and over and over again that their standards are too high, that they're too unattractive to want these things, and then they're unable to maintain the kinds of standards that they have, and you are concerned with how it is possible for them to be tricked. Now, it is desperation, and I won't go back on that because there were too many red flags for her to just ignore all of them. But they do it. And it's not they as in big back. I mean, people do it. And women in particular, because of how we consistently tell them they need a man to validate them. And a provider at that, a VP. Girl, ain't nobody believe that man was a VP. She made herself believe that man was a VP. Charlamagne, who shouldn't question anyone, looks cheated on his skin. Not only that, Charlamagne, I'm gonna leave him in Monks. Is it with that girl? I'm gonna leave that alone for now. To Jess, everyone acts accordingly on a new job. T.S. Madison read Just Hilarious and Charlamagne over this for 40 minutes. It was epic. I haven't watched T.S. Madison since Kaya. I used to watch T.S. Madison and Kaya when I was in law school because I honestly was like, at least I'm not. I thought that was one of the funniest show on YouTube. I think that was. I don't remember how they broke up and what happened, but that was that was just so useless. T.S. Madison told Jess Hilarious, "You sent me, and I'm coming to you, hood." You sent for me. Sorry, you sent for me, and I'm coming to you, hood. I've not fully really thought about T.S. Madison and Jess Hilarious because they've been arguing since that lady was talking about the thing that happens every month or whatever. And so, like, I don't know how to engage, and I don't really engage with the T.S. Madison and what's her name, Just Hilarious. I don't engage with that foolishness. I worry though that Just Hilarious blends too easily into the Breakfast Club. I do. And I've never thought Just Hilarious was an advocate for anything, honestly. So, like, I mean, I don't expect much, honestly. Charlamagne likes to give his opinion validity all the time, like Amara La Negra and him pretending not to know that colorism. Yeah, I remember. I will never, ever, ever forget that interview where Charlamagne apparently is bleaching his skin, talking about, oh my God, are they colorists in the Latino community or whatever? Like he sat there and tried to pretend like he didn't know what colorism was for real, for real. Like, oh, you've been a member for 32 months, Nayani. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me drink some water on that. Mm. Oh my God. Oh my God. I forgot I had this. And this is how we wrap up this dusty part of the show. This right here is how we wrap up this dusty part of the show. There is a pastor. Oh my God. I don't even know if I can actually play this, but I'm going to play it. Thank you, Sin, for this. Now we're going to play this and listen carefully to what this pastor had to say. Because this is degenerate is as degenerate does. In the same vein, we're thinking about Charlamagne blaming. And the funny thing is, Charlamagne is accused of doing what this pastor is going to talk about in a moment. But just notice the kind of people who blame the women for men's behavior, for accepting men's behavior, and not really giving accountability to men. I think ultimately, this is what all of this boils down to. This is ultimately what comes of these kinds of conversation. When you say men are above you, you want a leader, you're going to subject yourself to patriarchy and you're not going to push back. When men in said patriarchy come and start saying, oh, you're big back, that's why that happened to you. Oh, this is why this happens to you. When you're beautiful, this happens to you. When you start accepting these parts and ideas around womanhood and how womanhood should operate in a patriarchy, the logical, not even extreme, but next steps have to include this. And trigger warning, it's going to be talking about RAPE. So I just want to put that out there before. And then I'm going to play it now. So look at him too. Like, what? It's also a look. Oh my God.
Find more women go in those places with shorts than you will women with pants and dresses put together. Try it. If you got time, try it. Have your boy go up there and try it. Just watch for him. Have your girl go up there and watch for it. And you know, I used to say this. You know, I haven't said this in a long time. You ready? I said, if you dress like that and you get raped and I'm on the jury, he's going to go free. You don't like, do you? I'm right, though. I can't help you don't like it. I'm right. Because, you know, a man's a man.
The justification is that a man... Oh, it's low. I know. I can't turn it up. I apologize. That's how it is. A man is the justification. Oh, I have a lot of things to say, but I can't say any of them here. So I'm waiting for my brain to like settle down with it. You are not to be blamed for other people's behavior. That how you dress and how you show up in the world does not give anyone a right to access you in this way. Patriarchy, fundamentally, and I've said the word patriarchy a lot. I've intentionally saying the word patriarchy because I want this video to pop up in very specific places. So the algorithm hears it, and I have an accent, so I have to keep repeating the word patriarchy. It shows up, and this is what it does. It demeans, devalues, and dehumanizes women while also making them responsible for men's behavior. Now, how does that work? How? How does that work? How is the sweet, docile person who does not engage in any meaningful anything because they don't have power, they can't lead, right? How are they responsible for men's behavior? Why can't you control yourself? Yeah, someone soy milk said, yes. This is what they do. They tell on themselves. Like, you need to go look into his past now, and you probably find a lot of people who were. Let me stop. I hope not, actually. I really do hope not. Let me move on because I'm getting annoyed. Actually, I have more to say, but I let me move on to this. It seems like none of these men were actually listening to Megan Thee Stallion when she did his. Instead of whining and crying, this is Drake online whining and crying about Tory Lanez. He is crying. He misses Tory Lanez. And he's posting him. Girl, at the end of the song, his, Megan told you what to do. I don't know why you're online when you can literally go do what Megan tell you to do. She told you what. Like, I don't understand why you're crying and whining all online. Just do what Megan said. Instead of crying and whining, ain't nobody trying to hear any of that. Go do what Megan told you to do. Just toxic. Someone comes out and also her friend, forgot her name, not important right now, decided that she gonna go do a podcast and tell her truth. So you forgot everything while you're on the stand, but you just now remembered everything. Ain't nobody got time for that. We don't care. Oh, it's not the JP part. It's not the JP. It's not the Vibes Cartel has a song about it. I promise you, I'm not talking about JP. I'm talking about the Vibes Cartel song. Let me move. We've hit the 2-hour mark, and I said I wanted to finish all of this in an hour and 30 minutes before we get to this. All right. Buckle in. Buckle all the way in, please. This is going to be a bumpy ride. Actually, let's do a refresher. This is gonna be a bumpy ride. So before we even do any of that, we need a refresher. We need to take a moment. We need to take a breather. We need to relax, and then we need a break. How is everyone doing? Drop a one in the chat. I don't know why I keep saying that, but here we go.
Yeah, I beat my face. Moving fast cause the Uber's on the way. Taking pictures, make sure you can't see my legs. The we secure like the money in the safe. I look like babe, now I'm on my way. Let you know when I'm about a mile away. When I'm outside, please don't make me wait. The party started when we pull up to the gate. Girl, we so late, I'm just with the crew. We ain't out here looking for boo. Cause some nights be better with you. With you, it's a homies only kind of mood. And tonight we on 100. 100. Come on, y'all, keep going. Drama, no baby, mama's keeping it cute. Ooh, that's just what I do. Do, and that's just how we do it. Do it. Yeah, that's just how we do it. Do it. Do it. You do like it what I do. Do. Know how to keep it cool. How y'all doing tonight? Yeah. Hey. I be.
Sorry, I needed that laughter break. I needed that moment before we get into this. It is my belief that Diddy Puff Daddy Love, whatever his new name is a despicable human being. It is because of this reality for me that makes the fact that I am so annoyed with the way the attorney wrote the complaint, how the complaint was structured generally, and the allegations in the complaint that we're about to go through. I'm not going to read it. I've already read it, so I'm going to break it down without reading it because ain't nobody got time. Everyone is just reading that online like live, and I'm not doing that. It annoys me so much. So much. So I was watching the Impressive channel, and this lady, Tiffany Red, came up. She was one of the people who came out and verified some of what Cassie had to say about Diddy. And now she came out and she said she's going to sue Diddy. Oh, Mia has been a member for 2 months. Thank you. I'm glad it's MIA and not MEA because Mia Culpa, girl, I'm glad I didn't do that review by myself because all I saw was red. I am Iloha, who I absolutely adore. We've had one conversation on Clubhouse and she was the sweetest person in the world. I actually really, really like her and I like her channel. But today I was on that channel and that woman, said, Mia Culpa was not bad. And she actually liked it. And let me go make sure that I did leave the comment because I have a tendency to say I'm gonna leave a comment and then not leave the comment because I wrote it in my head. Let me just make sure I left that comment. Because ain't nobody got time for that. Yep, I did. Mia Culpa wasn't bad, is wild. Love you though. All right, good. I did leave my comment. Just making sure. Anyway, Diddy should be called Legion henceforth, right? I actually really like I'm Eloho though. I really like her. All right. So here is what Tiffany, her name is Tiffany Red. Here's what Tiffany Red had to say. This is from the Impressive channel. I was watching it and she had
Interscope Records.
The part where she what's her name? Tiffany Red is going to explain who she's suing and why. All right, let's play it first and then we'll talk. I do think we're going to have so I love her. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I actually don't dislike her. I don't know her, but we'll see.
I'm suing Bad Boy Entertainment. I'm suing Epic Records. And I don't know who else. I don't know if my lawyer is saying there's anybody else that's in there, but those are the people that I am suing. I am suing for tortious interference, for all of the work that I have done that has been because of all of this. My work was it was derailed. I spent years working with Cassie. Years. The music is incredible. It's
okay. So that's the first problem I have. I have a couple problems. First, if you're going to sue, why don't you sue and then come and announce that you've filed a lawsuit? It is weird to me to do it this way, but okay. But then you say you're suing for tortious interference. And that's where like my antennas go up. So I don't know if she's doing it in New York or California, because again, nothing was filed. So I don't know under like the tortious interference is it tortious interference with a contract? So did you have a contract to work with Cassie? And Diddy in caused it to go awry? Did he intentionally do it to mess up the contract, or was it a consequence of his behavior? Like, there are standards for tortious interference, and you have to prove that there was intent to. And if there was no contract that you can provide, was it tortious interference with a prospective advantage, which would also require, obviously, the wrongful means by which Diddy engaged to disrupt your business? This is a heavy burden. Like, if the approach here, like, I get intimidation, I get other kinds of torts and civil action, but tortious interference is wild to me. And then to say, sorry, this is the petty in me. I pause it here because it gets really sad. It gets really sad later. But when you say you and Cassie were making incredible music, like, I had to pause it here because I can't let her finish. How do I put this? Incredible music with Cassie is wild. That's all. Incredible music with Cassie is wild. So you think Diddy stopped your bag by preventing you from making incredible music with Cassie? This is your tortious interference claim. We don't know if it's tortious interference with a contract. We don't know if you can produce a contract. And we don't know if it's tortious interference with a prospective advantage, which would then require an extra level of proof around the action being against the law to interfere with your contract. And the fact that Diddy's contract predate with Cassie for 9 albums, wild, predates your contract. I don't know if you have a contract with Diddy, and that he was the person who got you to work with Cassie, I'm assuming, and I'm also assuming he's the one who is going to pay you. Tortious interference seems wild. Like, I wouldn't go that route. Like, I don't know who your attorney is, but tortious interference as a claim here is kind of wild. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it doesn't seem very strategic. Someone said she might be no, period. But then it got really sad. So I had to stop it here because I'm going to play a trigger warning. This actually made me sad. I need to block Mystic Moon. Mystic Moon needs to be blocked.
It's all now. It's got all this nastiness all over it. I can't tell you what I felt like when I found out this is what was going on. I can't tell you what I felt like when I found out that my music was playing in the background. That the reason why this nigga called me emotional singing is because he was listening to a demo of me singing while he was doing God knows what with my fucking friend. I have been dealing with this shit.
I mean, that's not tortious interference, but also you need to know what he was doing if it's affecting you, right? Like, you need to know what he was doing with your song, and you need to connect it. And I am being very specific because her claim is that she's gonna. Oh, thank you. Her claim is that she's going to. Her claim is that she's going to sue Diddy. And so this is now a legal conversation. This is not legal advice. So it's all right. Like, I get her outrage, though. It's just a very strange approach.
Since 2015, this has been some of the most traumatizing and terrifying moments in my fucking life. You want to know why I haven't been in LA? You want to know why Tiffany Red is not outside doing 100%er activations? Because I don't feel safe. I just got a DM from Chalice for posting, trying to accuse me of defamation for my last post. That was a post of fucking Billboard. That was a post of some shit that was filed in a lawsuit yesterday. That's public domain. y'all. I will not be intimidated. I'm exhausted with talking about Puff. I've been talking about Puff since the end of last year. I'm sick of it. This is not my life because I didn't do nothing but fucking write records that are fucking incredible. And what did these niggas do? Waste my fucking time. Waste my talents. Throw me away. And y'all expect me to be fucking quiet? You want an interview? This is my life. That's Lil Rod's life. In real life. That's Cassie's life. In real life.
I don't understand her claim fully. So I understand that she said she worked with Cassie to create music, and the music is no longer going to be put out, and so that is a waste. This is not good, but I don't know what, like, I am sure there's a safeguard for this. Like, a lot of music gets created and not used. So unless you can prove to the standard necessary that your music wasn't put out because Diddy is trying to interfere with your life and your relationship with Cassie in terms of your business relationship, not quite sure. And you being scared for your life makes sense. Diddy and all of them are terrible people. So, like, yes. But, like, tortious interference is a strange claim. Her emotions are real. That she is afraid seems also real. Whether she should be afraid, I would agree, because Diddy seemed to be like just a menace to society. So I agree with that. But, like, what happened to Cassie, and you were there, and that is wrong, and you have emotional distress from that, and so you could sue on that. Like, there's other torts about how Diddy has harmed you. But this feels like it's about your career, and you're wanting compensation for work rendered. And in that way, it feels like more a breach of contract. But if there's no contract to breach, that's also weird. If the contract wasn't breached, then this claim seems odd. If he prevented you from providing your music to his artists, it's a little bit rock. Like, the claim, like, I would just go for, like, actual harm that Diddy has done to me around scaring me, because based on what Cassie said, you were around for a lot of this, and this could impact you negatively. And I would go that route as opposed to saying he doesn't want to put out your music, or he trashed Cassie's music that you helped her with. Like, it feels too arbitrary, his decision-making power around Cassie's music. But also, this is not my area of expertise. I actually did love twerks, but it just feels odd. There's intentional infliction of emotional pain. There is, I think there was an assault allegation at some point. I don't remember if there was a battery, but there was threats when you were there, threat toward you and your friend. Like, don't know about the statute of limit. Like, I don't know her legal angle. And the only thing she gave us was tortious interference, and she didn't even tell us what type. So, like, I would have probably gone and sued, and like, I need something legally to figure out what is happening. And I don't know her factual relationship with Diddy and how Diddy has caused her specifically issues. Like, I don't know that enough to come up with a claim. Like, but she seems outraged, and maybe rightfully so. But she doesn't tell us why fully.
And all this y'all doing on the internet is putting everybody in danger. I'm not outside because it's dangerous.
Who is making it Diddy is dangerous. That you are online, I think, is protecting you more, actually. I feel like a lot of people would have a lot more consequences if they weren't public about this. I don't, when they say all you're doing, I don't know who. I don't know who she's talking about when she said, like, I don't want to be piecing this apart because I do feel like the emotion is real, but I don't fully. I'm tired of y'all. You can't do this. Let me like the chat. Ain't no way. You're not gonna let me laugh because I actually do feel really bad for this lady.
You tell me who else gets to be accused of all kind of this kind of shit that ain't gonna get picked up and be in jail already? This is still outside, and y'all want me to come to meetings? Y'all want me to go do shit? Are you fucking serious? This is the reason why I quit. Y'all ask me why I don't write songs anymore. This is why. This shit has made me want to kill myself. I'm fighting suicidal ideations as we speak because this is no way to live. This is no way to live. I just wanted to do records. I just wanted to write songs.
This is why, by the way, I do actually understand her emotion because if I were in Diddy's on Diddy's radar in any way, I would be scared out of my mind, just generally. So, like, I understand that she's scared. And I don't think we should make fun of her for being scared because, like, Diddy had J-Lo. If the complaints are to be believed, their allegations, Diddy had J-Lo bringing in guns into clubs and him taking it and shooting it up. The allegations are that he had his son friend, either he shot him or someone shot him in the bathroom and left him there. I'd be very afraid too, but we haven't gotten to that yet because that is a whole mess.
I did not sign up for this shit. I was not raised like this. I don't want to do the drugs. I don't want to fuck. You want to know why I don't got a bunch of hits for all y'all that are like, she ain't got no hits? Them hits was behind me laying on my back, bitch.
I'm sorry, who is she talking to? Like, this is... Maybe she's live and someone is, like, antagonizing her. But I hope there are people who make hits without laying on... Like... She is upset, and I don't think I should be analyzing what she's saying in this way, so I'm just going to move on. I am a bit confused, but my confusion isn't enough to warrant a dissecting of what she's saying in her state. I think she has a right to be emotional, because this is an emotional reality, and it's a scary reality. I do hope that she does get help. Particularly around her ideation. I won't say it here. I think that is important. I think mostly what she feels is real about her fear. And she's probably feeling like she's losing her career. And this is a thing she's passionate about. And I can understand wanting to protect that. So those are the good words I have. When it comes to the law part, I'm interested in reading her complaint. This complaint I will read live, but I'm interested to see what the lawyer comes up with. And because I don't know the factual matter, I don't actually know what her case would be. But she hasn't provided any evidence of tortious interference, neither at the sort of contract level or even a higher level where it's like an interference with prospective advantage. So, in the absence of a contract, one can make the claim for tortious interference if it is with interference with a prospective advantage. You now need to define the advantage, prove that you would have had that advantage, and that Diddy intentionally engage in a way that would make the person, Kathy in this case, renege on a contract or a contract like agreement. So, I mean, it's not an easy, it's not, the claim you're trying to make is not an easy one to pull off. It's usually for companies where one company takes business away from another in very specific ways. But I'm interested to see how this plays out. I don't think the attorney will go through with that claim, but we shall see. All right. Whew. Girl. This complaint, this had me up. The thing is, people have been saying a lot of these things about Diddy. Like, people have been, the engagement around Diddy has been very, very, very specific, intense, and long standing, right? So, to have Rodney Jones, Little Rod, I'm going to mess up his name. I'm going to call him Little Rod. I'm probably going to call him Rodney. I'm probably going to call him Jones. It is what it is. He filed a suit in New York against Diddy and a bunch of Diddy affiliates, and Diddy's son, Christian Combs, is listed in there. Actually, both his sons are listed in there. There is a, how do I engage with this part? The attorney and the way the attorney wrote the complaint is kind of weird because they claim to be hiding names. And they said a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Girl, who do you think that is? Diddy said he slept with a Philadelphia rapper allegedly in the complaint. Girl, Meek Mills is online crashing out. Like, Meek Mills is online right now. I have some of his tweets that we have to go through because, like, Meek Mills reminds me of Nicki Minaj. And when the dog was hit, like, when hit dog holler. I'm not calling anyone a dog, by the way. I would never. It's the phrase. Why am I telling y'all it's the phrase? Like, y'all don't know. I have problems. So, like, there's a part of this complaint, as I was reading, that no one is talking about, which I don't know why, because I do think it actually highlights the ways in which Diddy has been able to navigate the world and do what he does without being held accountable. And one of the allegations is that TD Jakes was going to help rehabilitate Diddy's image after Cassie. This was in the beginning pages of the complaint. Now, after TD Jakes has been out here talking about swallowed up, after TD Jakes has been out here talking about being swallowed, there's not much help he can give. It is literally not much help he can give Diddy. So it is a really interesting read for a lot of reasons, but there's also some factual inaccuracies, and there is a lot of issues that if I were on cross-examination, I would have a field day with Little Rod. I would have even if you won in the court, Little Rod, your reputation would be absolutely ruined. Not only would your reputation be ruined, your credibility in the court would be at issue. And the reason is the attorney, in writing this complaint, put a lot of things up for question. And the issue that I fundamentally have with this culturally is I hope that this is not the case that Diddy uses as his triumphant return. Because a lot of us think, oh, it's easy to cancel someone. This is so big, he will never get over it. He'll never get past it. He will never be forgiven. And I think that we literally ignore the reality of how short our memories are and our willingness to hold powerful people accountable is in our community. He can get past it. The fact is, the quote unquote gay allegations being put out there is more detrimental to Diddy's image than the fact that he possibly unalived someone, the allegations of tremendous abuse to a woman. All of that wasn't enough, right? Stealing money from people. No one cares about any of that. It is the gay allegations that got him. It's that is now in the minds of Black people's psyche enough to cancel him. And that does say something about our culture and our willingness to engage with sexuality and disregard people based on sexuality. But I'm not here to talk about a sexuality. I'm here to get into this foolishness that is Diddy and what he's been doing in the industry. Switch to Hollywood law. We need you. Period. It's actually probably fun to talk about that on YouTube, I would imagine. Themis, give us a little taste of your cross-examination. All right, let's do it. Let's. How do I want to start? Let me, because I'm not gonna. All right, let's do this. Let's do the facts, right? So in or around August 2022, there's no date listed in the complaint. Diddy reaches out to this producer, Little Rod, and he asked if he could help produce the Love album, right? The relationship between the two, the business relationship, started in September 2022 and ended in November 2023. Little Rod is complaining that he spent holidays with Diddy, birthdays with Diddy, and major holiday events with Diddy. Major holidays, repeat. When you say you spend birthdays with Diddy, whose birthday were you spending with Diddy? Like, this is the first question I would ask here. Because you say you spend birthdays. Is it your birthday that you were spending with Diddy? Or is it Diddy's birthday that you were spending with Diddy? Or is it your family's birthday that you skipped to be with Diddy? Like, that would be the first sort of preliminary question. Now, remember I said the business relationship between Diddy and Little Rod started in September 2022. So on September 12, 2022, Diddy had this producer/writers camp, right? This is all, again, I'm saying allegedly, but I'm not reading, but like I'm coming from the complaint. These are not my opinions. These are what is written in the complaint. All right. So you start working with Diddy in 2022, September. And in that same month, days after, like literal days after you started working with Diddy, you go to a writers and producers camp where Diddy and his son got into an argument with a friend of his son. They were in the bathroom. You heard shots fired. You thought you were going to get shot because you heard shots fired. You see Diddy and Justin come out of the bathroom and you rush over to the bathroom. And in the bathroom, you see a man, Justin's friend, on the floor, bleeding out. No one is doing anything. You rush over to put pressure on the wound. You call them to call the ambulance. Diddy told y'all to lie to the police and say that this man was shot outside. And that was the story in the news, that at the studio, someone was shot outside. This, I have a whole bunch of questions. Days after you started working for Diddy, you were in the studio where he and his son reportedly, allegedly shot someone in the bathroom. You go to that bathroom, you see the person bleeding out, you lied to the police, and the police were all idiots apparently, because you told them and the other people told them that this happened outside, but the man ended up in the studio, the blood in the bathroom, and there is no blood trail from outside coming into the studio, but the police believed you. So unless y'all brought this man outside and then dragged him back in so that there was blood, how did this happen? How? You're gonna have to explain how this happened. So you either the police who came there were incompetent, or someone outside of, oh, he got shot outside, was lying. But that's not the issue here. Days after you started working with someone, he shot someone. Days after you started working, the ink on the non-existent contract between you and Diddy, days after you started working with someone before the ink dry on the contract, you're at a studio, you're at a camp for writers and producers, and the person you're working with, working close to, shot someone in the bathroom, made you lie to the police, you came over, you saved this man's life, and then you moved in to live with Diddy? You moved in with Diddy, because then in the complaint you said you lived with him, you lived with Diddy months at a time after. Give me a second, let me drink my water, because it don't make no sense to me. I am not, by the way, saying you should leave or you should know to leave. I am saying this does not look good for you on the stand. If you took the stand, and by the way, Diddy is not about to settle this. Like, even if you settle this, like when Cassius' case came out before Diddy settled, I said publicly that Diddy is about to settle. Ain't nobody want to see that kind of discovery. And while Diddy might want to hide discovery, this is not the moment to hide discovery. This is the moment to run up the lawyer bill, fight about venue, extend, like even the interrogation into like anything about what is happening with your PI. Interrogatories, questions list, document requests, interviews, extend that so much and bleed. What is going to happen is this man, unfortunately, is going up against a machine that is literally about to bleed him dry financially, which brings us to his GoFundMe account. And we're going to get into his GoFundMe account in a second. So the police came, you lied to the police. The police were so incompetent that they did not know that the person wasn't shot outside. They believed that they were shot outside and there was no blood trail or anything leading inside, but you were able to convince them that it was shot outside. You said there are people willing to testify if they are subpoenaed. I hope that is true, and I hope your story is accurate, because this is not going to look good if these people get subpoenaed and they come and they don't say what you said happened. Because that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a big problem for you. Now, after this, you said you suffered from anxiety, insomnia, and PTSD, right? This is what he said happened. Like, he suffered from all of these things. Yet in the beginning, I posted pictures of him just living life and having fun with Diddy. It's a wild thing to say, oh, I suffered from insomnia, I was anxious, I was scared. And then obviously, how people react to pain isn't the way in which everyone react to pain, right? How they react to intimidation isn't the way everyone react to intimidation. The fact that Cassie was smiling in pictures didn't actually mean she was happy and living the best life, right? So this all can be true. The problem is days, not even a month. We don't even know if you started working with Diddy yet because you were at the writer and producers boot camp. And that's where Diddy and his son possibly shot someone that you saved their life. It gave you anxiety. You thought you were going to die. You didn't. And then you moved in with Diddy after he made you lie to the police. That doesn't digest well. It can't be Stockholm syndrome because they don't even know each other yet. They don't even know each other yet. That's why I just pointed out the beginning of the contractual relationship. He was scared. That could be an out, except why would you then move in with him? All right. So the other claims that I actually do fundamentally believe, it's interesting because when the attorney is weird in that, like, he's not really trying to hide anyone's name. And I don't know why he pretends to hide people's name when he's actually not trying to hide their names. So he does this thing where he says, like, rapper blah, and then in the footnotes he'd tell you who the rapper is or who the singer is. So he was like, R&B singer who abused a Bayesian billionaire. I don't know who that is. Like, no one knows who that is. Like, if you're gonna do it, just do it. And like, there is a bunch of people being name dropped in this that doesn't really have anything to do with the case, but I don't mind it because I'm here for like the mess. Like, I'm here. Call out all of them. Don't hide anyone's name. So I'm here for it, but at the same time, it doesn't actually make sense. He then alleges that there were all kinds of drugs from ketamine to GHB, ecstasy, mushrooms. Is it mushrooms or shrooms? I don't know. Marijuana should not be on here, but whatever. And that he was sexually harassed and assaulted. Now, the sexual harassment is wild. And as I was reading, I'm trying to figure out, because there's an anus. I didn't want to say the word. None of this is funny, but like, I'm trying to figure out how. Um, I don't know how to ask this question without being like really vulgar. Like, it is actually really vulgar and I don't want to do it. But like, I'm trying to figure, like, were y'all naked? Like, how does he touch you at that? Like, I'm not gonna say it. Uranus, yeah. How does the Uranus? Like, I just don't. How is that exposed enough for someone else to touch it? And like, it doesn't just allege that he touches it or like unauthorized touching of his Uranus. Like, he's saying this happened in LA, it happened in New York, it happened in Florida, and then also in the US Virgin Islands. So like, the funny thing is, people were mad at Kathy, were like, why don't you leave? And like, if these men are all afraid of Diddy and afraid enough for him to be touching Uranus, like, poor Cassie. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm actually trying to make this make sense in my head because it don't. Did I say unauthorized touching? Sorry. But if he drugged him, he wouldn't know unless something else happened. I would only go to Hollywood in a hazmat suit right at this stage. It's the new coffee. No, stop. I'm gonna move on. Because like this doesn't make sense to me fully, but I'm just gonna move on. And he's saying, as a Christian heterosexual man, he didn't like this, so he goes to this lady named KK. We're gonna call her KK. Add another K, I guess. I don't know. And she's kind of over the managing work with the company, whatever. And he's like, hey, I do not like Diddy touching your anus. Like, please stop. I wouldn't say that again. I don't like Diddy touching me. Diddy is doing too much. He's horseplay. He's touching me in areas that I don't appreciate. And KK turns to this man and said, Sean will be Sean in the way boys will be boys. He's just playing and he's just showing you he likes you. The issue here is, will this lady testify to what you told her? Have you told Diddy about this and told him to stop and that you're not interested? Were there any records of you telling, like, do you have text messages or email indicating that you were uncomfortable with the engagement Diddy had with you? I am not going to say in the sphincter in the sphincter area. Yo, stop. This is serious. Like, but let's take a second to breathe. This is serious. When men are complaining about being harassed, we have to also take that seriously because it is not okay. Like, it's really not okay. And so, like, I have my issues with how this was written. Like, groping should have been used, or like buttocks, as opposed to that specific word, because it's like very difficult unless you're like fully exposed for someone to touch you there. You know what I mean? So like that's what, like, the way this was written, and I'm not even blaming the guy suing, I'm blaming the attorney, right? So anyway, KK would then say Diddy likes the horseplay. And Little Rod is saying that he believes that Diddy was trying to groom him into homosexual relationship, and he knows that Diddy was trying to groom him into homosexual relationship because Diddy actually pulled out a video. I'm trying to figure out how to explain. I hate this so much. I hate this. So pause. I don't like I don't like being vulgar generally. I think it's one of the lowest form of existence, just being vulgar for myself. I don't care about anyone else. And so like there are certain things that I don't fully know how to say. I know what I want to say, but like hearing it comes from my mouth is like wow. So like I'm apologizing if I'm stammering through all of this. So let's continue as I struggle. All right. So Diddy knows that Little Rod is looking up to Stevie J and likes Stevie J and wants to be like Stevie J, right? So what Little Rod is alleging is that Diddy showed him a video of what was believed to be Stevie J engaging girl with another man. You know what's happening. I don't have to explain this. Engaging with another man to say, hey, we all do this. This is the you have to pay to play the game, and this is how you pay to play the game. Now it turns out that this is not in fact Stevie J, and the person who is doing it came out and said, hey, I'm not Stevie J, I'm the one that was in it. Sure, he's getting a lot of clout off of that. The issue here is Little Rod can play one or two ways. Double down and say Stevie J and be wrong, or say Diddy was trying to get me to do something, and he lied to me and say it was Stevie J, and it wasn't. But he looked close enough to Stevie J, and he knows I like Stevie J, and I look up to Stevie J. And so he understood that if he lied to me about what Stevie J did, or at least in this video that he claimed to have of Stevie J, what Stevie J was doing in said video, that I would be more comfortable doing what he wanted me to do. I'm assuming that's the route because in the complaint, he's saying it's Stevie J and that he has a picture in the video of Stevie J or whatever, but it's not Stevie J. So there is a credibility issue that happens there again. And that's an unfortunate reality, right? Now, he then points out that Diddy said he slept with a rapper from Philadelphia who dated Nicki Minaj. Now, this is not funny, but like if I am Meek Mills and I hear that someone is suing Diddy and claiming that Diddy said that he slept with a rapper from Philly who was dating Nicki Minaj, and I'm the only one, I am not responding. I am not responding. True, false, whatever, I'm not responding because after what happened with Nicki Minaj online, for example, and how she crashed, I hate the word crashed out, but like that's what I've heard someone say, and the word crash out feels good to say. So I don't know if it actually means what I think it means, but like just go wild online and just start commenting and responding. So that's what I'm assuming crash out means. After Nicki Minaj crashing out online, I'm not about to follow that up, but Meek Mills did. And so Meek Mills and DJ Academic went into the dustiest fight online that I don't really care about. Andrew Tate somehow jumped in as if he doesn't have a whole trafficking case going on. But so Meek Mills went online and Meek Mills says, I would trash any celebrity if they tried wild move on me. No pics, literally go crazy on them. That is all. I'm from Philly, N-word. All my N-words always watch me around this wild industry. And then someone responded and said, Meek, have you ever been swallowed? Well, yo, so Meek Mills is crashing out online, and the people aren't easing up. Like they are dragging him. Like they are dragging him. Someone else said, we know you're from Philly, bro. Now we know you. Andrew Tate says, so P. Diddy was having sex with Meek Mills and Usher. And Meek says, was you trafficking women? The F wrong with you, Brody. And then Andrew Tate comes back and says, I only ask a question because everyone is saying it happened. It's sure not. Yeah, people, this is not a joking matter, but like, even this conversation for Meek Mills and Andrew Tate to be going back and forth online is like bizarre. I'm not gonna say it's wild because I don't want y'all to be having drinking games. All right. So, someone said, Meek Mill says, the internet is wild. Like, I don't know why people would go back and forth on the internet with anyone. Like, if Black Twitter catch a wind of something you did and they decide to make jokes or have fun or like drag you, just let it happen. Just kind of don't push don't push back. Because I was having a nice, Meek Mill says, I was having a nice sleep, chilling in the mansion. and wake up to this hooked on phonics, but whatever, this weirder stuff. They learn how to affect your and they were girl, period, girl. And this is the rapper, this is the one you thought write these raps, girl, period. They learn how to affect your energy through these phones. LOL, shaking my head. I am back now. Someone responded. Someone responded and said, yeah, out of pocket. Yeah, out of pocket. Meek then comes back. Because Meek, here's the thing about Meek Mills, apparently. He just will keep going. And people just having fun at his expense. So they come back. Y'all see these rappers with gay styles, they want that look. Leave that to them. Leave that to. All right, girl. Leave that to them. I come from that gangster-ish surviving. I thought he was saying serving. Can you imagine? Wait. Can you imagine if he's like, those people are gay. Leave it to them. I come from the gangster-ish. I serve gangster. But he said, surviving in the jungle. Someone said, Meek, you have the right to remain silent. Meek. Then someone responded again and said, I come from the gangster is surviving the jungle, and then reposted his picture. You know, you're not about to convince me. He's like, I'm not reading all of this, but he's up there saying that they're making stuff about him to prevent him from releasing his music and to trap him and prevent him from being successful. He's an independent artist, and the reason they're going after him is because he decided to release his music independently. Now, remember, this is Little Rod suing Diddy, dropping all kinds of names. So it's wild for Meek Mills to think this was all an orchestrated plan just because he's about to drop some music. But I have one more, and I think this one is important. Sorry. I'm trying to find the specific tweet he made. Please tell me I have it. Please tell me I didn't just like ignore it and not put it up here. And I don't think I put it up here, but in one of his tweets, Meek Mill says that when he has a woman, he sleeps with her 3 times a day and blah, 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 blah. Using women and his access to women to cover up predilection. Look, I'm not saying it's true or it's not, but to just sua sponte volunteer to us how many times you quote unquote sleep with, bed your woman is wild. That is absolutely wild. And for me, it screams insecurity. It screams cover up. It screams, I don't really like women, but I'm going to use them twice a day, he said. Thank you. I'm going to use them to cover up something else about me. That I'm not saying that's true, but the fact that you posted that tweet and thought, yeah, I ate, is wild. It's wild to me because now, even if I didn't believe before, because like people talking about Meat Mills or whatever, I just assumed he got dragged in it. But the way he is like crashing out online feels like it feels more true than it would have been had he been silent. That's what it feels more true than it would have been had he remained silent. In any case, we're going to continue to Young Miami portion of this of the complaint, which I don't know why people are like reading through all of it. So in November 2022, Little Rod, and I have a question, by the way, about Little Rod. Because Little Rod said Diddy promised him to be producer of the year at the Grammys if he engaged in these behaviors, right? He then talks about Cuba Gooding Jr., whatever. We'll get to that in a moment. And like that Diddy was grooming him to pass him around in the industry, essentially. And he was attempting to pass you around in the industry because of what you said with Goody Jr. Gooding. What does that mean about whether or not he was like about the way you engage with him? Like, I'm not, anyway, we'll get to that because, like, I do have very specific questions. The thing about Cassie is Cassie owned what happened to her against her will and what was taking place. It seems like even throughout this complaint, it seems Little Rod and his attorney mention gender of sex worker in specific place, but then completely ignore the gender in other places. Like whenever he said he woke up and there were sex worker, him and Diddy in a bed or whatever, naked, there's no gender there at all. And I don't know if that was intentionally removed, like the gender of the people there, or if we're just supposed to suppose they were women and that was the truth. All right, I see some super chats. Let me read the super chats. The chat wants to know why was Burner pick up. I'm not gonna. Y'all don't remember Burna Boy and Diddy having a fight about Diddy thinking he made Burna Boy by helping Burna Boy get a Grammy? Y'all don't remember that? Little Rod said Diddy was promising him Grammys, girl. So apparently Diddy just have Grammys to give to people. There was no other. There was another reason he was up there, but y'all need to read into that complaint. And whoever is up there was up there for a reason. There's no allegations being made, by the way, from me. I just put it up there because these are people they were associated with. So that. Look, one of the things, I don't take hip hop seriously because some of the most homophobic people are in hip hop. And to find out that they're all just hiding their homosexuality is wild. It's not that wild, actually, but it's still wild. And I don't like the hypocrites. Shots. That's both 2024. All right, let's continue. All right, so Young Miami. The first time I spoke about this, I was annoyed with everyone covering it because no one was talking. Now people are, thankfully. I'm not taking credit for it, by the way. I was just annoyed that no one was talking about it. But I was talking about the fact that there was this woman that went on Tasha K's live stream, and that woman and Young Miami got into a back and forth online, and Young Miami said, if I wanted to, I would make Diddy, I could make Diddy make you know what. You understand? So she understood to some level Diddy's control over these women and the women in his life. And she was weaponizing that in an argument. I don't know how Young Miami is not being dragged through these streets, her name and her affiliation with Diddy. I don't know how she gets to like kind of disappear from it after making that threat and essentially putting herself out there in that way. Not only do you know about it, but you engage in it and you're threatening women in Diddy's life to have him make them do things. That is a problem. Anywho, we'll get back to that, but that is a problem. But in November 2022, and again, y'all have to remember this all took place in the span of a year. So in September that's when Lil Rod started working with Diddy. That same month, days after he started working with Diddy, it might actually be the first day. On the 12th, Diddy apparently shot someone, or his son shot someone. Someone got shot, and Diddy and his son walked out of the room and left the boy in the room, or the man. And Lil Rod had to help this man and then lied to the police and then moved in with Diddy. That is wild to me. But then that was in September. So we have October and then November, Thanksgiving. Apparently, Young Miami and Young Miami's cousin came over, and Little Rod is in the bathroom, and Young Miami's cousin goes into the bathroom and attempted to perform fellatio. Little Rod pushes her away, rejects her, goes to sit down. She then gets on top of him and straddles him and tries again to have intercourse with him in front of Diddy and the other people. And he said no. I am kind of concerned as to what he was wearing. How could she, over the clothes, do all of this? But not only that, I have an issue here with the fact that you had the capacity to reject, because you said no. And unless something happened, unless there were consequences for you telling Young Miami's cousin no, it seemed like you could say no. Right? Like, you said no to her, you rejected her. And it was fine because y'all worked for months after that. You told her no. So what happened between, because like, if you were scared of Diddy and you didn't want to tell Diddy no, then you saying you thought Diddy sent Young Miami's cousin to do this to you and he was there, you rejecting her would be you rejecting what Diddy told you to do and told her to do. So that you were afraid of him seems odd, because you didn't seem afraid enough to like not reject. So then when you say he told you to go get sex workers to come in and sleep with them for his pleasure and you did, I mean, it's still an abuse of power, mind you, but the fear element and the forcing you to do it seems odd when there were instances where you were telling him no and rejecting the people that were again, I'm just saying that if you're doing this kind of work on cross-examination, he does not come out looking great. He then alleges that that night he was drugged and woke up naked with sex worker and he was dazed. So that's an unfortunate reality. That reminds me of like Cardi B saying that she used to drug men, which you don't even know how people are gonna react to being drugged. So like that is wild. There was another incident still in November where he says Diddy asked him for $100 bill so that they could do drugs together. And he said he was happy he couldn't find the $100 bill. He didn't have $100 bill. So he didn't lie that he didn't have the $100 bill. He just said he couldn't find one and he was happy. And Diddy said, okay, and waited for Young Miami for them to do what they do together. The question I have is, would you have done the drugs with Diddy if you had the $100 bill? Like, and again, he reiterates throughout this that Diddy would promise him Grammy, said he would promise him $250,000 to buy whatever he wants, that Diddy would promise him a $2 million property and access to record label and exec. Diddy would also threaten him and said that he would eat his face. Diddy also said, these are allegations again in the complaint, that he would unalive his own mother to get what he wants. So what do you think he would do about with Jones? This is Jones's Little Rod. I mean, those are like wild allegations. So like it's a lot. Then Chris Brown gets brought up apparently on in 2023, July 2023, they had a listening party where there was Chris Brown, and we know it's Chris Brown, or I think it's Chris Brown because everyone is saying it's Chris Brown due to the fact that this is a person who allegedly beat up a Bayesian billionaire. I don't know too many Bayesian billionaire, and so who were beat up by a singer. So 1 and 1, but it might not be him. Just putting that out there. Justin Combs was there, and sex workers were there. Now he said he felt uncomfortable, tried to leave because there were underage girls there. The issue that is going to come up here is that he said they were underage. Some of them came out and said they weren't underage. So that's an issue in and of itself. But not only is that an issue, there's a credibility issue here again, because he is claiming that none of these women were ID'd. If they were not ID'd, did you, separately from the people at the function, go and ID the girls and found out that they were underage? Because you are just supposing that they were underage. You don't actually know that they were underage. You provided no evidence in this complaint that they were underage. And in fact, some of the women came out and said, "Oh, what do you mean? I'm not underage." So that becomes a problem. And saying that Chris Brown, saying that the singer, we don't know if it's Chris Brown, apologies, was with underage girls, and Justin Combs was with underage girls, without being able to prove it, is going to come back to bite you if you have to testify. But he did point out that Diddy took his keys, his car keys, so he couldn't leave. I'm pretty sure you can still leave without your car keys, but who would want to leave without their car keys? But yeah, there is that. And then he was forced to drink, and he knew that the drink was laced, and then he woke up at 4 a.m. naked again with sex workers. No gender was given here also, so that's wild, right? But after this, Diddy and Little Rod goes on a yacht with Cuba Gooding. Let me show you. So they went on a yacht with Cuba Gooding Jr., and he believed that Diddy was grooming him to pass him around in the industry. There's nothing funny about this. This is really, really sad if true. But the idea that Cuba was out here on a yacht trying to be one of the people that Diddy passed men around to is wild. There is an image in the complaint that I'm not putting on here where Cuba is putting his hand around Little Rod, and like they're so close, and he's like looking at something, and the picture seems really, really intimate, but you know how pictures can be. And so like there is a part of me that is really perplexed about what was actually happening now. Because it is one thing, and this is interesting. This is interesting to me because it's one thing to keep telling Diddy no, right? And if you kept telling Diddy no, why then would Diddy introduce you to more people? Right? Because if you didn't engage with him in that way, then he would have failed in grooming you, right? If he was to groom you and then pass you around in the industry, the grooming part would have had to be successful for him to be passing you around in the industry or attempting to pass you around in the industry. It would be really sloppy, and Diddy is probably sloppy. It would be really sloppy though. I'm imagining. I have no idea about any of this. It would be really sloppy for you to be told to train someone, introduce them to a lifestyle, and then pass them around. And you attempted, you fail, but you still continue to try to get them involved and know other people who are involved in the foolishness. That would be wild. So the alternative is seems to say, I don't know this is a fact. I don't know Little Rod. I don't believe anything about this man. It is unfair for me to speculate in the way that I'm about to. I'm not going to do it. It's wrong, so I won't do it. It just don't make sense. It does not make sense that Diddy would have failed to make you engage in the kind of behavior that he wants you to engage in. So he failed to get you to do the things, but still attempted to pass you around. That feels wild, like to do. Anyway, he said he rejected Cuba and they moved on. The touching and rubbing of his legs and the picture, which was on, I think it was on like around page 23. I did note that somewhere, so I remember the page. It's kind of wild to have a grown man like invade your space like that when you are not, or you haven't accepted that kind of, there was no consent, unauthorized touching again. I don't think it is right for me to cover this how I'm covering it without actually saying what I believe, but I cannot say what I believe because it's too wrong. It's wrong in that like it is a big jump and speculation. So I'm just gonna own the fact that like there are parts of this complaint that I don't like. And I hate the way that I'm parsing through it because I do fundamentally believe Diddy is a terrible, terrible person, right? And because of that, I do want to see some level of justice. However, that doesn't, it's not enough for me to ignore the glaring issues in this specific complaint. And I don't know if I'm doing the right thing by parsing through, because I do actually have a cross section that I probably won't get to, and a breakdown of all the issues I see in the complaint. I mean, I've been doing most of it, but like, it feels wrong to dismiss big chunks of what this man is alleging because they seem inconsistent, or it doesn't seem to add up, or it doesn't make sense add up, right? So I am struggling a little bit because, like, if I were the attorney, I would drag. This would be a fight I would want to take on, right? As the attorney, I would never choose to be Diddy's attorney. Ew. But as a commentator, it feels weird doing this. Intuition is a thing. It's clear what's going. Yeah, like it feels. Let me see. Oh, I've been on for 3 hours. Let me rush to the end. Anywho, Cuba is done. So Lil Rod was complaining that he was not paid. He was not paid for the work that he did on the album. Diddy only wanted to pay him $29,000 and also wanted to keep this man's publishing. Lil Rod is saying absolutely not. And so he went to the internet to force Diddy to pay him and for him to continue to own his publishing. He said he's scared of Diddy and that Diddy has guns and getting away, having gotten away with shooting people, Diddy. This is the J-Lo incident. This is the incident at the studio with his son. Lil Rod is afraid. And so this is his attempt at getting justice. Now, there's some RICO enterprise issues, racketeering issues that he claimed. I won't get to all of his claims throughout because, like, it's going to become too much for right now. But he says Stevie J recruited sex worker Justin Combe recruits underage girls. There's a Paul and a Frankie guy who gets the drug. That Diddy is affiliated with a bunch of gangs, particularly in California. He said he has footage. Diddy has footage of a bunch of politicians, celebrities, athletes, pastors, in compromising positions because apparently all through Diddy's house there's a bunch of cameras. Now I pause there because I'm assuming everyone would already assume that all of the places in Diddy's home, all of the rooms in Diddy's homes, everything has cameras. If I am worth over $20 million, $10 million, if I am worth over $10 million, everywhere there's going to be cameras. I'm going to have cameras everywhere. The issue here is Diddy would be a very hard person to bring down if he has dirt on everyone who has power. And the question Tiffany Red was asking about who could be going through all of this with all of this being exposed and them not being able to be prosecuted, why that would be? Well, it could be because of all the information he has. Now, if this is true, I don't believe powerful people are going to sit idly by while Diddy get prosecuted and potentially bring them all down. So the options are very slim. I'm not going to engage. Y'all saw what happened with Epstein and them. I think this is a really, really tricky situation. If it is true that Diddy has receipts on powerful people, this will be an interesting couple of months. And I don't think Diddy is going to settle. I think that the attempt to put a bunch of lies or misunderstanding or ignore certain facts in a case will come to the detriment of Little Rod, because this is not something that you just throw together to get someone to settle because you saw how Cassie settled. If Diddy really wants to fight, he can fight and drain you financially. This is Little Rod's GoFundMe. And as of now, they raised $2,000. Oh, you can't see, sorry. They raised $2,000. You're going up against a machine. If you can't sustain this, they're gonna just destroy you under lawyer fees, right? Not only that, but it doesn't seem to me like this man wanted to fight. I think he wanted to scare Diddy into giving him what he's owed around his work, around his publishing, and maybe recognize that he wasn't supposed to engage the way that he did with Diddy. So it is really, really sad and unfortunate because, again, justice in the US seems to be something that you can buy. And with the overwhelming amount of reports around who Diddy is and what he has done, that he has any real support is kind of wild. But also that the attorney who drafted this kind of started throwing everything at the wall to see what stuck places the case in a very strange position. And because of that, if Diddy wanted to, he could attempt, I hope he would fail, in using this to rehabilitate his image. I think Little Rod is protected in that Diddy is not about to just come out and say, we were together. So I think he's protected in that way. But it's unfortunate. This is an unfortunate reality. And so as we watch this unfold, and people saying Cassie gave them the courage to come forward, and Cassie allowed them to speak their truth, and they are happy now that they get to see some level of justice. I don't fully understand what is going to happen, because if you point out enough lies, right? If you point out enough inconsistency with accusations around you, people who want to believe in you in the first place get to latch on to those things as opposed to the truth about your degeneracy. And that's why I have such a fundamental problem with the attorney here. They missed an opportunity to be thoughtful. They missed an opportunity to be direct. They missed an opportunity to be upfront and concise in the allegations of facts, or if not concise, more detailed in the opposite way, to make sure that what they're saying can be backed up and proven. And the fact that this looked like it was thrown together by an attorney is ridiculous, because you're not going to just shake down someone that powerful when they've been looking for a crack in the wall. Diddy and his team have been looking for a reason, a way to fight and pretend like he is not guilty of a bunch of stuff. And this could be his out if done well by his team. And I don't like that. By the way, I love Themis cardigan. It says neat, clean, and high class. It's not a cardigan, it's a jacket. A sweater. I don't know why I just said jacket. Kathy gave them the courage. They are leaders. All right. So before I go, let's have a discussion. I know people wanted to talk about the leadership stuff that we started in the beginning. I know people wanted to talk about the Tiffany Red. I don't fully want to talk about the Diddy stuff because it gives me a headache. Don Lemon just got over $20 million for being fired. I didn't want to talk about that. We can talk about Wendy Williams. I just won't get into like detail because it makes me sad, but you sure can. Yeah, you can talk about anything. Iyanla and Nick, Charlamagne the goddess. I'm kidding. I shouldn't do that. So here we go. I'm gonna hit the after show. Thank you all for being here with me and hearing me talk. I cannot believe I just spoke for like 3 hours and 20 minutes. That's a lot of talking, girl. That's a lot of talking. The corporate errand lady triggers me so badly. Like, she triggers me so badly. Do y'all know who corporate errand is? Oh, thank you. Do y'all know who? Let me find her. I'm gonna play this video of her because, like, she triggered. She makes me so mad. Like, she's funny, obviously, but she makes me so mad.
It's 9:01, so we're going to go ahead and get started, okay? So I'm just going to kind of provide some level setting here. So I know a lot of people are new here and you haven't been onboarded properly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a calendar invite on your cal, probably like 11 p.m. And we'll have time to kind of blaze through a deep agenda of everything that the company has been doing up until now, okay? So, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Corporate Aaron and I'm the manager for the Manager Logistics for Management. But for now, we're going to kind of park that management conversation in the parking lot. And for now, I kind of want to concentrate on the social media marketers, the social media managers, and digital comms teams, okay? So a lot of you may know that I now run the social media accounts for Lisa Beasley, and I've been in the weeds. My bandwidth is stretched, and I've kind of been in the weeds. I'm not going to lie. So I reached out to my friends at Sprout Social.
That voice is so annoying to me. It is so specific. It is so accurate. It's so triggering because, like, every time I hear it, there's a very specific person that comes to mind that, like, just gets under my skin. So it's really annoying. Respect for your gift of gab. I would have been done in 7 minutes. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I respect it too, because I know how I do it. Corporate errand triggers my PTSD. Yeah, well, it triggers like an anger in me. And I'm not an angry person, but there is an anger there. And it's the kind of anger that you hate that you have to suppress. You can't really do anything with it. You just have to sit there and let this person talk to you, and you're like, I just don't like you. I just don't. For talking for 3 hours and 20 minutes, we appreciate you. Oh, thank you. Before we get into the discussion, Rose, thank you for coming up. Let's watch this one more thing together.
How y'all doing tonight?
Yeah, I beat my face. Moving fast cause the Uber's on the way.
On the way.
Taking pictures, make sure you can't see my legs. The we secure like the money in the safe. I look like babe, now I'm on my way.
On the way.
Let you know when I'm about a mile away. When I'm outside, please don't make me wait.
Make me wait.
The party started when we pull up to the gate. Girl, we so late, I'm just with the crew. We ain't out here looking for boo. Cause some nights be better with you.
With you. With you,
It's a homies only kind of mood. And tonight we on 100. 100.
Come on, y'all, keep
no
going.
Drama, no baby mama's keeping it cute. Ooh, that's just what I do.
Hey.
Do, and that's just how we do it. Do it. Yeah, that's just how we do it. Do it. You
do
like
it.
it what I do. Know how to keep it cool.
How y'all doing tonight?
Yeah,
Hey.
I beat my face. Moving fast cause the Uber's on the way.
On the way.
Hey, Rose, how are you?
Hey, famous. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. First time speaking to you, and it's a pleasure. You are my favorite YouTuber, no doubt. I'm serious. I'm very serious. I mean, there's a lot of great people in here, but you are my number one. Always look forward to hearing you. I love your delivery. I love that debate you did with the Cynthia G. I love your opening statements. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. What do you have for us, by the way? Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No, I mean that sincerely. I really do. Coming to YouTube is it can be here or there. It I don't know if I can be brutally blunt. It doesn't have in some cases the best quality of people. So, every now and then to have somebody who is an intellect, someone who brings something refreshing, objective, is respectful, creates a safe space for women. And at the same time, you're not pandering. You're very real. So I really appreciate that. You talked of a number of topics, and I'm glad I can't remember everything. The first thing that comes to my mind is Wendy Williams, and I'm glad you brought this up. I want to ask this theme as a lawyer. Okay, we know she's around a lot of rotten people, but how is this possible that a bank is in charge of her money? Because someone brought up the fact that there was another entertainer who has dementia. He's not going through this, but he's of the white persuasion, so you know how they tend to have privilege. But for Wendy, something is not right. How does one slip into this and hopefully avoid it? Because I look at things like, while she did make mistakes and she was not in her right mind from the drugs, could this happen to any of us, and how could we prevent it?
The problem with guardianship for me is it seems only obviously financial, because a lot of people actually probably would need guardianship, but they won't get it. The financial aspect is related and also different. So, if you're in a bank, right, and you start spending money, the bank has a right to shut access off. In fact, there is a question about whether or not you own the money once you put it in the bank, right? But I don't want to get into that and the financial system in the United States and how it actually works. However, I actually don't disagree that if you see certain kinds of spending happening, for example, that the bank would step in and say, this is not okay, this is not allowed. It's not allowed, but we've never seen this happen before. And so her son spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, for example, over a short period of time, would call into question whether or not Wendy is actually approving this, right? And then you would pause the account, which I would agree with, and then you would go do an investigation, be in court, whatever, figure out if Wendy is doing this or if she's not. Then you find out that she's not in, I don't like saying in her right mind. I don't like that phrasing, but that she's suffering from dementia, for example. You're going to have to figure out the best way to move forward because it's not your money, right? It's not the bank. If something were to happen to her, it would just go to her family. So it's not like the bank is taking her money, right? Um, but whether or not she is able to manage her money and her life and make certain decision is in question. It is in question. I
No,
actually
thank
disagree with the like guardian. So guardianship is a legal process by which a court seeks to protect those because of illness or disability who are unable to protect themselves. That's like the general idea for what guardianship is.
No, thank you. Thanks for that clarification. That makes sense. The only other thing is, while I'm not particularly in love with her son, or I don't think that the son has her best interest at heart, he seems oblivious. I don't think he was ever raised to have that kind of responsibility because it's, when she would show him, they would show about how he was living lavish with the friends. I don't think any responsibility was ever put there. But on the other hand, being that it's her son, like I think he lost his apartment. Now, we can say, okay, why shouldn't he get that apartment? But at the same time, that's his mother. She's wealthy, she's got money. So I'm not condoning anything, but that's her son. It just seems like there's just too much of other people controlling her. And I'm wondering, is it exploitive? Is it taking advantage
Oh
of her?
yeah,
Or
they're definitely exploiting her. The question isn't if they're exploiting her. The question is who is exploiting her the most. And in truth, if the bank is actually following procedures and the bank is saying, we see suspicious activities in your account, therefore we are stopping this. Also, there's a whole conservatorship thing happening. I can understand how that would happen in terms of process. I disagree with maybe the evaluation of her because it does seem from what I saw on the documentary that left to her own device, Wendy will be just buying alcohol. Like it wasn't food in her refrigerator, there wasn't food there. She just kept getting alcohol, and it is scary. But she's not without money. Like obviously, she's without the kind of money she's used to. But they had like thousands of dollars in cash around just there, just because. So I don't agree with the guardianship generally, but in Wendy's case, I don't actually know what like I don't know what to do. Like I don't even know what to think because honestly, from how she was acting on the documentary, I don't know I don't know that she would know how to make decisions for herself. Like it didn't feel that way to me.
okay, all right. What was the other topics you said that we could talk about?
Oh, anything. So what if she work? I can buy alcohol with every dime. She can, and that's the question about like is the system too paternalistic, um, and is it wrong to try to protect someone from themselves? And how do you create a system that is not defective in its attempt at protecting people from themselves? I don't think it's easy. I do think it's a complicated question. And for example, like if she got remarried and she could make decision, that man would make all the decisions for her. If she should she be able to get married in her state? this her state of being. Should she be able to spend all the money she worked for if she wouldn't have otherwise spent it if not for her current condition? So if she was, pardon my language, I'm going to use right mind, but I do actually apologize for doing it this way. If she were in her right mind, would she make the decision she's making currently in the state that she's in? And should we be able, or should we even attempt to make that distinction, draw that line? And again, the question is fundamentally, is this too paternalistic? And I don't actually know. I don't know. But this is also why it's important to have people you trust, to have your power of attorney, who you can trust, to be in community with people. All of this gets implicated in the conversation around Wendy. Sorry.
Thank you for that clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a legal matter, so I didn't understand it. So thanks for a lot of stuff you did say makes sense, because if the bank see what seems to be suspicious activity, I know for a fact I've seen that where they intervene, and she's not in her in the mentally, she's not in the best space. So it would make sense that someone would intervene to help, but are they really helping? Which they might be helping, but at the same time, are they helping themselves? But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of literature around guardianship, whether it's white, what people should be doing, how to engage with it, whether the system should be fundamentally dismantled and redone. I was very strongly against guardianship, but then I thought about my grandmother. Sorry, this is random, but like, if not then, but when I was watching Wendy Williams, I thought about my grandmother, and I was like, if my grandmother was a multi-millionaire, would I want her to be able to access the money without supervision to give to and do whatever she wants with it? And I don't think I would. I think at a certain point, it just felt like she was incapable of making certain kinds of decision. Now, who should make that decision is, for me, the more interesting question. Should the family be able to do it? And why wouldn't you let the family, if the family want to burn all the money out, shouldn't they be able to? And how paternalistic can we be? And I do hope, like, I don't actually have my own answer. Like, obviously the answer is no currently, under certain circumstances, but I don't know if I would want certain kinds of family to be able to do things, unless it was explicitly stated by the person going through cognitive decline at the time. If prior to the cognitive decline that they've explicitly explained that they would want their family to be able to make these kinds of decisions.
Makes sense. Makes 100% sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just the bank making a decision, right? It's I'm reading a comment. It's the judge. It's the judge appointing a guardian and a conservator.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But yeah. Anywho, any final questions? Apparently, there's no one else who wants to come up, so you get your final question, and we can say our good nights, and I can go order. Maybe I'll order food tonight.
No, that's all. Hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Yep, we will. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye. All right. So thank you all so much for hanging with me tonight. My head is hurting a little bit, which is weird. Not my first whole live. Oh, thank you. I actually appreciate all of y'all for staying. I do know that on Fridays there's a lot going on YouTube. A lot of people are live. And so it does warm my heart that you all stick with me and you all are here. I truly appreciate that. So thank you. Thank you. And I will continue to try to make these live streams fun, interesting, and thoughtful. So I'll say good night. I might go into the Discord, actually. I'm going to go into the Discord. So for all the Discord members, if you're there, I'm coming in. I have to say, this was one of the best comedic themist take. Oh, that's not great, because this was supposed to be a serious. All right. I have to work on my serious face. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.